All right, got a crash reported by police, 40 westbound right before Briley Parkway East. That's going to be over there by the airport. Then in Woodbine, the police reporting a crash 440 westbound after Nolensville Pike. In Madison, still dealing with that crash from earlier today that had 65 southbound shut down. Right now, they've got it moved off over to the right shoulder, so all lanes are open there between Old Hickory Boulevard and Briley Parkway and Ellington Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Welcome in, one and all. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. That would be Middle Tennessee time. And I thank you for all of you, every single one of you, for whatever time you're able to give us, whether it's the full 4 hours or just a few minutes. Maybe you're in your automobiles, your homes, your places of business. Regardless, we appreciate your listenership. Maybe you're listening on the radio on 99.7 FM. Perhaps you are listening on an app, like a Spotify or an iHeart. If so, hello, fare thee well. Anywhere there's an app, we are there on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And if you find one we're not on that streams music or information or whatever, let us know and we'll get there. We have our own app. You can go to your app store and type in Super Talk 99.7 WTN and get to us this way. Or you can go to our television side of things. That's right. Super Talk TV is up and running. And Super Talk TV is on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can see the lovely haircut that we've been talking about over the or the lack thereof that we've been talking about over the last several days. I don't know if you heard the cross with me and Brian Wilson was in for Chad Benson. So good to hear Brian's voice. And Brian was chiding me for not getting enough hair cut off. Said he was going to the barber at 3:45 this afternoon, and that she would be willing to let me sit in the chair too. And I said, bring her on. I said, actually, what I was planning on doing was opening up the phone lines and saying, any barber that's willing to come up here by 7 o'clock and go ahead and cut this, all you have to bring are clippers and a vacuum. Because
I think I would also require a state board certificate just proving that they actually are a barber. I mean, you can take your chances if you want to.
I mean, I think I'd take about at this point, I'd take them at the word.
Take what you can get.
I would just take what I can get. And by the way, yesterday we were accused, and I need to talk to Chris Weber. There's Chris Weber behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as possible. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
You had a great time today, huh?
Wow, yeah. It's fun. Always fun to take about an hour and 45 minutes to get 25 miles.
That's nice. That's what I tell people about living in Mount Juliet. They say, oh, how far is that to downtown Nashville? I said, oh, it's either 20 minutes or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's Ken Weaver back at News Closet B.
Good afternoon, boys. Yeah.
Fellas, we have a big show today and a lot to get to, not the least of which are these Post Malone Oreos that I'm holding in my hand.
Post? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we talked about these yesterday, and apparently the missus was listening. And she holds back on me, and we had these in the cupboard.
You didn't even know.
I didn't know whether to be mad or happy. I thanked her. I said, well, thank you for hiding them, because she knows what would happen if she didn't.
Yep.
And so I thought at some point we could sample these on the old radio, give a review. They are Posties. They call them Posties. Post Malone? Posties.
Yeah.
Why are they calling him Posty?
Well, that's kind of his nickname.
Is that his nickname?
Posty. Yeah, that's what I understand.
That's
what the kids call
That's what the youngsters call him, Posty. Those in the know, if you know, you know. Posties, swirled salted caramel. Ooh. You go caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
Caramel? Yeah, 3 syllables. Swirled salted caramel and shortbread flavor cream. And the design is different than yesterday was National Oreo Day, and we were talking about Oreo cookies, if you missed it. And we're talking about the design on the cookie, and Weber was over it. He was like, just whatever, just eat it. Yeah. Just eat the cookie. Yeah. Well, this design is like a record.
Now, that's kind of cool.
Now, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So we'll try those later on the show. Yes, so if any barber an accredited barber in good standing with the state of Tennessee is willing to drive to 10 Music Circle East with a little, the cape, the
little apron or
little
cape,
apron
whatever,
thing
yeah.
that you put over you, and some clippers. And once again, I need to say this because yesterday I was accused of slinging negativity toward the singing barber. It was my fault because I thought we had kind of established what we were going for, and I don't think that we had. And I think that's my fault. That's not his fault. He was doing what he thought he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
In the circumstances. Yeah. So nobody's knocking on Noah. Noah's a great guy. I wish him well. I hope he gets his residency back at the Grand Ole Opry or whatever that was. And all is well. I'm not casting aspersions at his abilities either as a singer or as a barber. I'm just saying that I did not want a Billy Ray Cyrus haircut. And so I've got to deal with that. It is, I was told yesterday that I should stop calling it the Billy Ray Murphy and just go ahead and call it what it is. It is the double M. It is the Murphy mullet.
Ah, yeah.
It's Murphy mullet, day 3 of the Murphy mullet right now.
Murphy mullet.
Will this be the last day?
I was also told that I looked like a redneck anarchist, which I kind of,
I'm not sure what a redneck anarchist looks like, but okay, I could go with that.
I was getting ready to say an anarchist would get kicked out of those redneck circles.
I mean, I don't know what a redneck anarchist would look like either, but that's what I was told. So, I trust the audience. I trust the folks out there. 0783 says maybe the singing barber just wasn't a Trump fan. Nobody's casting no aspersions on. I mean,
make more of it than it has to be.
That's right. He's a great guy. Did a great job for what it was worth. I mean, for what he did, it's just fine. It's just I need some more. I need a little less party in the back for it to look like I'm looking. I got to go up to party. I mean, I'm going to the Hill next week. I got to be on the Hill.
That's right. Yeah, you can't go up there like
I can't go around and hobnob and glad hand with the politicians trying to steal our wallets, looking like this.
Strap a guitar to your back. Maybe you'll be able to pass.
They actually, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
they think. I mean, dress up like as if I'm somebody.
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't have that long hair up here if he weren't somebody. Who's that? Is that one of them? Is he singing at the opera tonight?
He's apparently an artiste.
with that haircut. Anyway, we've got lots to get into today, non-Oreo related. Daylight saving time is this weekend. Everybody excited?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm tired of driving on I-24 in pitch black. So I at least want it to be daylight.
It occurs to me that this used to impact you in the other way, right?
Yes, sir.
When you were driving in the mornings.
Yeah, in the mornings it was fine because there was, it was like a quarter
it's always,
of the traffic there.
Well, and it's always dark.
It was always dark, but it was okay because you weren't next to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we're about to. I mean, it's light right now. What time's it getting dark now?
Like
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
I don't really know.
5:45.
Because we're in here with the shades down. Yeah. But we're about to experience a little more light in the evenings, and it goes back to what 2 times a year we always moan and complain about it. Nobody ever seems to do anything about it. Whether or not we can get to one time and stay there. I've long said just go in the middle and call that the top of the hour and be done with it. And everybody gets it too confused. So you don't have to call it the half hour just because it's the half hour. You can change that to the top of the hour. So if it is 3 o'clock now, I'll just try to do simple math, and you're going to change it to 4. Spring forward. So we'd go to 4 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So instead, go to 3:30.
That would be a disaster.
You think that would be a disaster?
I think it would. Yeah.
Everyone says the rest of the world would be screwed up with the rest of the would be on the half hour.
Because the time zones are hourly. They're not broken into half hours. So that would mess things up worldwide.
Well, then we just have to tell all the mamas out there that don't want their precious angels to be standing at the bus stop in the dark to go pound sand, and we're going to go to daylight saving time because that's what everybody wants.
Just give them a flashlight. They'll be all right.
They'll be fine. You know what? You give them a flashlight and some mace and, I don't know, maybe a little peace. I mean, it's time to learn some self-reliance at the bus stop, for goodness sake. So we'll discuss that Oh, Brandy says you got to be able to see them couches, Ken, on I-24.
Yes,
that's true. Tell me what happened on 65. What did you go through?
It said it was an overturned vehicle. I'm assuming it was at one point. By the time I got to it, they finally opened the interstate, well, at least partially. And I saw a car on the back of a tow truck, and then I saw what looked to be a shuttle bus, like one of those hotel-type shuttle buses that had been burned to the ground. And it had obviously been on the inside shoulder, and they had pushed it over to the outside shoulder because there was all kinds of debris up against the little wall in the middle. But then it was just a shell over on the outside. So whatever it was pretty serious. I hope everyone's okay.
Hope everybody's all right. I-65 closed down for a good portion of the afternoon this afternoon. We'll be alerting you to all of the traffic woes this afternoon as regularly as we possibly can on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll also alert you to what's going on in the world of the news. Look, I do this for a living, right? So I'm paid to report to you what's going on in the world. And I say that acknowledging that I've given up on the tariffs. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and trust our man that he is using these as bargaining tools, as he does, to get better trade relationships and better deals going and to accomplish other things outside of trade relationships that he's trying to accomplish. Can we all agree on that? That our man knows what he's doing when it comes to these tariffs? Tariffs are not a bad thing. They're not always a negative thing. The mainstream media pretends that they are because the mainstream media hates everything that Donald Trump deals in, right? Anything that Trump likes, they hate. If Trump came out today and said that oxygen was good, hashtag Never CNN would do a report about how bad oxygen is for you. Later on tonight. That's just the way they operate. Anything that Trump is going to do, they're going to create some level of negativity about. And if you don't believe me, go and watch this awful human being on MSNBC, Nicole Wallace. It is a crying shame that we live in a world where this woman is still employed by MSNBC. It's not my business. It's their business. But it is awful that she could not just give a moment to a 13-year-old brain cancer survivor, instead having to make it about Donald Trump. So the tariff situation is fluid. With Donald Trump, trying to push Canada, push Mexico, push some other countries to the negotiating table. And there you go. Now, there's new breaking news regarding Jean Hackman as we speak.
Yeah.
Apparently, the medical examiner is saying that Jean Hackman died of natural causes.
Yeah, heart disease.
So,
and Alzheimer's.
I'm telling y'all, I'm not saying that all of my predictions come right, but I felt on day one that this looked to me like a case of a man passing away naturally and his wife being so distraught as a result of his passing that she took her own life.
Wait.
No?
His wife died of hantavirus.
What does that mean?
That is a virus that is found in rodent feces. And it is prevalent in New Mexico because I remembered it whenever I lived there.
What?
This thing is getting weirder and weirder.
What? So they died of two completely unrelated causes?
I'm looking at the alert. From breaking. Okay, this is from USA Today. Jean Hackman died of heart disease and complications from Alzheimer's. Authorities say his wife died of hantavirus.
Well, what are the pills?
I don't know. We're going to have to wait for that to come out, I guess. But what a coincidence that would be. One dies of heart failure and Alzheimer's, and then all of a sudden she catches hantavirus.
I mean, the natural question, I don't know, Ken. Maybe we need to look it up during the. I mean, how quickly after you get this hantavirus?
Hantavirus.
How do you spell that?
Hantavirus. It's called hantavirus because in New Mexico the A is pronounced ah.
Hantavirus.
Hantavirus.
Okay. And I just have to. I just have to feel like he. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
But I'm like you. That's exactly what I thought all along. That's what it looked like.
I guess the next question will be which passed first.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Like, did she pass first and then he didn't know what to do? And then.
What if she passed? Okay, she was mummified.
Because she was his caregiver, right?
Oh, yeah. No question. I mean, he's 95 years of age.
And there were reports that her body was mummified.
Maybe he was trying to get out of the house.
What if he was just walking around in a Alzheimer's fog?
I mean, let's think of it this way. Let's walk through this.
Okay.
So she gets hantavirus, and maybe she's trying to take some medication for it, or whatever, and she falls out and dies. They had not been seen in public for almost a year.
Yep.
And when they were seen in public last year at a restaurant in Santa Fe, he looked very frail.
Yep.
She was holding him on one side. He had a cane on the other side. So you could only imagine at 95 years of age, that's going to get worse as time goes on, or the frailty is going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have an ability to care for himself. She dies. Oh, yeah, I could see this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She passes away from the hantavirus. He's trying to figure out what to do, and maybe is trying to go outside to get some sort of help.
Yeah.
And is unable to do so and falls down and dies as a result of the exertion.
Wow.
I don't know, man. To me, it's still very, very weird.
And 5338 says, what about the dog? Well, I mean, if she passed away, if the dog was in the kennel, the other two dogs are out, dog in his crate, she passes away, it's entirely possible that Jean Hackman either had no awareness the dog was in the kennel,
right,
or didn't have an ability to take care of the dog.
Right.
We don't know how bad off Jean Hackman was prior to his passing. Yeah. He could have been non-ambulatory.
Right.
And when she died, he was doing his best to try to find a way to communicate with the outside world. I don't know. That's just that would make a lot more sense than him dying first.
Yeah.
Because she apparently was, as Chris said, his caregiver. That's just an odd development in a very, very odd story. It's 22 after the hour. We'll continue this afternoon. Obviously, it's First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Whatever you'd like to talk about on the phone lines, you are able to do so. During the 4 o'clock hour, we've got an edition of Fri-Jay, where you may ask and have your legal questions answered by our man, J St Clair. That's at 4:05 this afternoon. And a special edition of Cameron Smith. We didn't have Cameron on Wednesday. He's going to swing by a little bit later on in the show so we can yell at one another about an article that he wrote earlier in the Tennessee. And it's all to come on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, savory spice, savory spice. You make everything so pleasant and nice. Savory spice is such a wonderful thing to have in our community. Not everybody has them, but we do right there in Franklin, just off the square, next to Gray's Pharmacy. When you go in, you smell the smells, the delicious smells and the aromas of the different spices and seasonings. They have things to go into the cooking pot as you're cooking something, or on the meat or on the veggies as you're cooking them. And then they have beautiful seasonings and wonderful flavored seasonings to go on afterwards as well. Plus, they've got the Spice and Easy line. They have a variety. Oh, I always forget to tell you about the popcorn sprinkle. So good. If you've got like movie night and you do popcorn on movie night, they have different flavors available for you in the popcorn sprinkle. So good. They've got all these types of things. Everything that makes food good can be found at Savory Spice. I like to say you up your food game by buying a better cut of meat. You up your food game by buying a better line of veggies. Up your spice game at the one and only Savory Spice. Go see Holly and David and the rest of the crew, and be sure to tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice, just off the square in Franklin.
Jean Hackman and Betsy Arakawa death causes released. We'll have all the details for you coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver, 27 after the hour. If you're over on the television side of things, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, especially on YouTube, there is a robust discussion going on about my hair on the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. You know what it'll cost you if you like and subscribe?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Ken Weaver knows.
Wow, that's a bargain.
Absolutely nothing. That's a pretty good price. Absolutely nothing. And the extra commentary, it costs you nothing either. Matt's hair looks fine. Thank you, Rebecca, for saying so. That's very sweet. Riff Addict wants to know, how many more days do we have to look at Murphy's wretched haircut? Literally the dumbest thing. This is a fan of mine. This guy's a fan, right? These are my supporters.
Yeah.
Listen to what Riff Addict says. And this is harsh. Almost as harsh as what John Rich said to me earlier today on the X machine. More on that in a moment. So how many more days do we have to look at Murphy's wretched haircut? Literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, says Riff Addict.
Wretched. That's pretty hardcore.
Dang.
George says, Murphy, you've got to communicate with the hairdresser throughout the haircut. And I say, it was my look. Singing Barber did nothing wrong. Noah Peters did nothing wrong.
Well, neither of you had a mirror.
Oh,
Well,
that's true.
That's true.
I mean,
That's
so
true.
if you would have had a mirror, you might have been able to say something to Noah.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I was caught up in the moment, and frankly, I was just ready for it to be over.
Well, you were mass communicating while you were getting your hair cut.
That's what I was trying to do. And we really didn't talk about how it was all going to go. And I did not realize that there would be 4 sideline reporters sitting there commenting on every snip.
Yeah.
You thought you were just going to get your hair cut and they would carry on while you did that.
Right. My understanding was that they would do their thing, talking about the non-State of the Union speech and what was going on, Trump and the state of the world, Washington, D.C. I'm over there, maybe occasionally give an update. But, the Mandandus and Mr. Wilson and Chad and Chris decided, let's just talk about every little anyway. So, on the John Rich front, John Rich got cold on me.
Dang.
So I posted, I've been trying to give away this tread climber, this step climber thing.
Yeah.
It's a tread climber. It's a combination of a treadmill and a step thing. So it goes like that if you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it works. It needs some TLC. It needs some WD-40 on it, and it just needs to be cleaned up. But I'm not asking anything for it.
Mm-hmm.
It is functional, and it was like a $2,000 thing when we bought it new.
Wow.
And all I want is somebody to come pick it up in Mount Juliet. I just don't want to take it to the dump.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I just don't want to do that. And so I posted it on Facebook the day before my Facebook page went. So I have no idea what's going on there. And so I put it up on the X machine. I said, hey, last chance, anybody that wants this thing, you better come and get it. I'll tell you exactly what I said. Last chance. This functional tread climber is about to go to the Goodwill or to the dump unless one of y'all want it. Pick up only, free. Needs a little WD-40 and cleaning. Mount Juliet, let me know. John Rich, are you sure you still don't need it? I mean...
That cut deep, didn't it?
I mean, come on. I mean, JR, what are you doing here?
Maybe he's just, wanting you to get plenty of exercise, Brother Murphy.
I suppose.
Maybe he's not meaning anything by it.
I mean, John Rich calling me out. That's what John Rich is doing.
Yep.
And I've lost a couple pounds, John. I need to get him back in here and see what we're working on.
Well, you know
over
what the camera does to you.
here. I know. And I've got like 14 of them on me.
Yeah.
So, 5 pounds here and 5 pounds there. And before you know it, it's time to go to the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and authorities are releasing what they say they have found to be the cause of death to actor Jean Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. Hackman, they say, died of complications from heart problems and Alzheimer's disease. Arakawa died of hantavirus, a rare flu-like disease linked to rodents. Now, they say Arakawa last left their home on February 11th, which was the last time she went out, or rather sent out, any communication, and she died likely that day. Hackman, they say, died roughly a week after his wife from cardiovascular disease and from Alzheimer's. One of the 3 dogs was also found dead in a crate. 2 other dogs were found roaming. Death by firing squad in South Carolina, the first in this country since 2001. Condemned killer Brad Sigmund chose it over lethal injection. Sigmund was convicted in 2002 for the murder of his girlfriend's parents, David and Gladys Lark, and kidnapping his girlfriend. Sigmund admitted that he broke into the home, beat the couple to death with a bat, and kidnapped their daughter with the intention of killing her and then himself, but she escaped, and Sigmund was arrested 11 days later in Gatlinburg. President Trump hosting a crypto summit at the White House today, pushing the creation of a Bitcoin reserve, most of its assets having been collected by forfeiture to law enforcement actions.
The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know.
As President Trump does, he talks about all kinds of issues in one sitting, and that's what he did today. Not just crypto, but announcing he's pushing for the creation of a new White House task force.
We're going to be establishing a task force, a very important task force, White House, and that's on the FIFA World Cup of 2026, which, as you know, is a big event.
That'll bring a lot of money. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash 40 westbound just past Fessler's Lane, blocking the right shoulder in Madison, South Graycroft Avenue and Fair Oaks Drive. Over by the airport, police still working a crash 40 westbound before Briley Parkway East. And then in Woodbine, got a crash blocking the right lane, 440 westbound after Nolensville Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. United Structural Systems does 3 things really, really well. They maintain your foundation and they repair your foundation if you find that you are lacking in foundational support in your home. Number 2, waterproofing issues. Anything that involves water getting into your home when it should not, they handle at USS, United Structural Systems. And number 3, concrete leveling. That's who they are. That's what they do. United Structural Systems is a foundation repair and waterproofing company serving Middle Tennessee since 1994. And in that time, they've served almost 30,000 satisfied customers. That's an incredible testimony to their level of success. Almost 31 years and going now with United Structural Systems. Homeowners simply trust USS. This will not go away on its own, friends. You need to get it handled. They don't try to upsell you anything at USS. They are problem solvers. So call USS today. You can start your journey with USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or make the call that so many others have made, 615-488-7855. 488-7855 for USS. Man, oh man, we've got lots to get into today. It's 3:39. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm joined by Ken Weaver and Chris Weber. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, look. See, this is why I'm not paying attention to tariff talk. Hashtag never CNN. Trump may hit Canada with dairy lumber tariffs as early as today. See, you know what? I'm just going to let the president do his economic thing. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to trust my man.
He may do this his entire term.
Yeah, and the media is intentionally freaking out about it to attempt to freak the country out about it. Don't freak out about it. You know, the economic news was pretty good today. I don't worry so much with singular month-to-month economic activity, but if you look at it over a course of time, we saw, 150,000 jobs added. That does not account for some of the jobs lost in the government sector, but unemployment rate at 4.1%. I was always taught, and Ken, I don't know about you as you've reported this over the years, but I was taught that that 5% is kind of the floor on unemployment. At least it used to be.
I don't recall, man.
So, I mean, and what I mean by that is that if you're at a 5% unemployment rate, that means that at any given moment, people are transitioning between one job to another. At any given moment, people are going to be unemployed.
Gotcha.
And so that 5% rate, maybe it's lower than that now, but that 5% rate is considered the floor of unemployment. If you're at 5%, the economy's doing pretty good. If you're at 5%, the odds are if you're looking for a job, you can find a job. That's the idea, right? My grandpa always told me, man wants to work, he'll work. And if you want to find a job, you'll find a job. You might not find the job you want, but if you want to work, you'll work. That's pa. And, look, the unemployment rate, if you're currently employed and you like your job, your unemployment rate is 0. If you don't have a job, your unemployment rate's 100%, right? So 4.1% is a good percentage regarding unemployment. And our unemployment rate has steadily stayed low, even in the face of inflation and even in the face of economic uncertainty during the Biden years. So I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about these tariffs. I'm not. So we'll let things play out the manner in which they will. And, oh, by the way, this is not necessarily about putting tariffs on Canada. It's not necessarily about putting tariffs on Mexico. It's not necessarily about putting tariffs on anybody. It is used as a negotiation tool in order to move the ball in a direction that America wants to move the ball. And why wouldn't we want to do that? Why in the world would we not want to lead as the big dog that we are? We're the big dog of the pack. We're the alpha male, the alpha dog. And I'm glad that we have a president that has begun acting like it. In the meantime, I'm becoming all right. So my prediction, it turns out, looks like it was wrong. I'm beginning to get a clearer picture of this, and it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so a couple of things you need to know. Apparently, according to several sources, to include TMZ, which is a better resource than you would think, right? There was a time 5, 6, 8 years ago where you say TMZ reporting, and people go, "Wow, I'm gonna wait until a credible organization comes out." Nowadays, TMZ breaks a lot of stories,
They do,
and they are. I can't remember the last time they were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
TMZ reported that the dog that was in the crate, which was misreported. They had 2 German Shepherds and a mixed breed dog, Hackman and his wife. All of them apparently were inside-outside dogs. This particular dog, which was originally misreported as one of the German Shepherds, turns out it was the mixed breed, had recently had a visit to the vet and had some sort of something done to it, which they believe is why it was in the crate.
It was recovering.
It was recovering from some sort of procedure. Munson was recovering in his crate from his cancer procedure for several weeks. So officials have now ruled out carbon monoxide and gas leaks. We knew that from last week's reporting. According to sheriff's officials, it is believed that Betsy died February 11th. The cause of death was hantavirus, as Ken Weaver has told us, which is a serious and rare disease that can be fatal. According to New Mexico officials, Jean Hackman died February 18th.
Oh, wow, a whole week.
A week later.
Goodness.
The autopsy revealed the 95-year-old had a history of cardiovascular disease along with advanced Alzheimer's. He had a history of heart attacks and high blood pressure. Medical investigators have not used the term heart attack, although it seems that they were going in that direction. The medical investigator said she could not squarely say that he had a heart attack. However, he had heart disease and was 95 years of age and had significant Alzheimer's. So what I'm about to say is not pleasant, but this is the timeline that's being put together by New Mexico officials. Betsy, Jean Hackman's wife, their dog is recovering from some sort of surgery, so the dog is in and out of the dog's crate. The dog's in the crate. Betsy comes down with hantavirus, and for whatever reason, it does not get treated in a way that prevents her from dying from hantavirus. She dies. Apparently, she was in the midst of attempting to take some pills when she passed out or died in the bathroom. This happened, according to officials, on February the 11th. Jean Hackman, who was at the time 95 years of age, had Alzheimer's and a series of other medical issues. We have no idea how ambulatory he was. We have no idea if he was fully dependent upon his wife, but it looks like he was so dependent upon his wife and the ravages of Alzheimer's had hit him so much that he either was unable to call authorities or was confused enough that he did not think to call authorities. And so we really don't know whether or not he ever knew that Betsy was dead. All we know is that it seems, based on where he was, at some point he tried to go outside or he was going outside and he fell in the mudroom of his home and passed away. That was a week after Betsy passed away. That makes sense if she died first. She died first and he was not able to care for himself, nor was he able to contact anybody outside of the home. That's very sad, but it appears that's the – I mean, that tracks. That track with y'all? Makes sense?
Yeah, it does. And it makes me really sad for their families. Apparently there was a long time where nobody tried to communicate, I guess.
And they say that the last time that she had any communication with anyone in the outside world was February 11th. I mean, it's just
like the day she died.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking to consider. I mean, she was so much younger than Jean Hackman, so she was his primary caregiver. There seemed to be some level of estrangement between Jean Hackman and his children. I don't know that
they didn't have much communication, it seems.
Yeah, I saw a week ago or so where one of his daughters said that she hadn't talked to him in several months.
Yeah.
Man.
So they were not on regular communication with the family. And look, I mean, it just, if you decide you want to lead a more isolated life in the later years of your husband's life particularly, if Jean Hackman was a private enough individual that he didn't want anyone seeing him go through that, you would think that his wife Betsy was honoring what she thought her husband wanted. And so she was being very private, and then you lose her. And sadly, it seems like Jean Hackman lived for another week in the home with his deceased wife. So there you go. Hug your loved ones. Call them. It's not that important that you can't reach out and say hello and say you love them. 615. Oh, speaking of passing away, I have been challenged by Dan Mandis of Nashville's Morning News. Okay. And I'm going to take up this challenge here in just a second. Dolly Parton, beloved Dolly Parton, who I'm on record as saying Dolly Parton is the finest human being walking the face of the earth. Dolly Parton has put out a song for her late husband.
Really?
It is called If You Hadn't Been There. And we're going to play that song. Dan Mandis says, I challenge Matt Murphy to play this song and get through it without squirting a few.
Oh, boy.
So we're gonna try that.
I'm gonna have to get real busy doing that song.
She put out a song for her beloved husband of 60 plus years, and we will play it for you on Super Talk next. You know, you fellas, you want to do something nice for the loved one in your life, the lady in your life, don't you? Well, I would encourage you to go to Genesis Diamonds. And when you do, when you first walk into that door, and I know how I was when I walked in, either in Green Hills or Cool Springs, you're going to say, whoa, this is overwhelming. I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. Because there's so many things that are sparkly. There are so many different things that you can buy, like, bracelets or, brooches or necklaces or earrings or rings or whatever it might be. And it is just overwhelming for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. But don't you worry. Because the gang at Genesis Diamonds understands this. And so they're going to make you feel totally at ease. They're going to offer you a beverage. You know what? If you want a soda, you want some tea, you want a little glass of wine or something like that, they can handle it at Genesis Diamonds. And they're going to walk you through the showroom. They're going to talk with you about the needs and the tastes of the loved one that you're buying for, and they will feed you baby birds, as I like to say. Genesis Diamonds has the selection that you're looking for. They have the price point that you're looking for. You'll see the difference between a diamond that's properly cut and one that, might get away with some of these online places get away with the lesser than diamonds. They're going to teach you that. They're going to provide you with that education at Genesis Diamonds. So go in and see them, Green Hills and Cool Springs, and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Genesis Diamonds.
The Hackman's cause of death. Harassment of Jewish students is costing at least one prominent university hundreds of millions of dollars. These stories and more coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, the more and more you look into the Hackman deal, the more and more you wonder, what type of a relationship the kids had. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the backstory is there, but I know that if my dad was 95 and had Alzheimer's, I mean, you'd like to believe that you're checking in with your dad regularly, right? They weren't estranged from their father, but the more and more it looks as if they perhaps didn't have the best of relationships with Betsy, Jean Hackman's wife, and maybe that created a schism. Who knows? One way or the other, a week, it appears Jean Hackman was alone, alive, in his home after Betsy had passed away. And that's just absolutely heartbreaking. Speaking of heartbreaking, Dolly Parton lost her beloved Carl Dean. He was, I think, 82 years of age after a relationship that spanned over 60 years. They met famously. By the way, the story about the wishy-washy, she started calling it the wishy-washy at some point. I did a little background on it, and apparently, there wasn't a wishy-washy where they met, but there was a laundromat there. It was called like Ed's World or something like that. So, but one way or the other, they met at a laundromat the day that Dolly got to town. And I've long said that makes Carl Dean the luckiest man on the face of the earth. But Dolly wrote a song about him, wrote a song for him, I suppose, and has released it. And Dan Mandis challenged me to get through this thing without getting all weepy. Let's see if I can. Here's Dolly Parton. Singing a song for her husband, Carl Dean, called If You Hadn't Been There. And I'm just going to let this play. Well, my goodness, that's sweet.
Wow. Yeah, very nice.
She's incredible, man. Is she not the best songwriter?
That's just incredible. That is, if you hadn't been there, from Dolly Parton. Now, I understand that some of you on social media platforms weren't able to hear that. It's ironic that we can't play it on YouTube, but I just played it from YouTube. So I don't. But I'm sorry for those. It's just an incredibly, incredibly sweet song. If you missed it, if you hadn't been there, Dolly Parton, and man, she can still hit it when she wants to hit it. Yep. I mean, she's obviously older, but wow, if you hadn't been there, that's a great song.
Love the fiddle. Love the fiddle.
So good. So good. And such a wonderful love story of two very, very different people. Here comes Ken Weaver with the news. We got Fri-Jay on the way. We got Oreos to come. I mean, we got a lot to get to on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now, a cause of death has been released in the deaths of actor Jean Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa Hackman. New Mexico's chief medical officer, Dr. Heather Jarrell.
The cause of death for Mr. Jean Hackman, aged 95 years, is hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, with Alzheimer's disease as a significant contributory factor.
And Hackman's wife, Betsy, they say, died February 11th from a rare disease linked to rodents.
The cause of death for Miss Betsy Hackman, aged 65 years, is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome.
Jean Hackman, according to investigators, died a week later on February 18th. Right now in South Carolina, Brad Sigmund sentenced to die tonight for killing his ex-girlfriend's parents back in 2001. He chose firing squad, and that was cleared by the South Carolina Supreme Court. It'll be the first time a condemned killer is put to death by firing squad in this country in 15 years. Harassment of Jewish students is costing at least one prominent university hundreds of millions of dollars. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
The Trump administration says this $400 million round of grant and contract cancellations is just the start, and that there's more to come. Education Secretary Linda McMahon says Columbia University has, quote, abandoned its obligation to protect Jewish students from violence, intimidation, and anti-Semitic harassment on campus. The school says it's aiming to work with the government to restore the funding, and that Columbia is committed to combating anti-Semitism and ensuring the safety and well-being of students, faculty, and staff.
Yeah, all of this coming from those pro-Palestine rallies on campuses after Hamas started the war with Israel. President Trump opening the first of its kind digital assets or crypto summit at the White House this afternoon, pushing the creation of a Bitcoin reserve. Most of its assets having been collected by forfeiture in law enforcement cases.
The Treasury and Commerce Departments will also explore new pathways to accumulate additional Bitcoin holdings for the reserve, provided it's done at no cost to the taxpayers.
And that's not all President Trump told reporters he wants to do today.
It is a great achievement to bring the World Cup next year, the FIFA World Cup in 26 here. In the United States, together with Mexico and Canada.
That was not President Trump, but that's what Trump wants to do. The man with the power to raise and lower interest rates says he's holding steady for now.
More caution from Fed Chair Jerome Powell when it comes to cutting interest rates.
We do not need to be in a hurry, and we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity.
Clarity refers to the uncertainties around some of President Trump's policy changes.
The path to sustainably returning inflation to our target has been bumpy, and we expect that to continue.
Powell told the U.S. Monetary Policy Forum in Chicago the U.S. economy continues to be in a good place.
That's Brian Clark reporting, and the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. So, spring's not quite here yet. I mean, March 21st is right around the corner, though, 2 weeks away. And right now, you should be going to Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply for all of your fertilizer, seed, pre-emergent, and herbicide needs. Get your property ready for the spring. They offer professional advice as well. They understand what they're doing at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Now, let me tell you, you wouldn't drive a car without suspension. Why would you mow without it? If you're looking for a brand new mower at Ferris, their commercial mowers set the bar as the first and only manufacturer to integrate suspension with their mowers. These are really good mowers, man. Ferris holds 16 patents just around suspension technology alone. And whether you're a professional cutter or a homeowner that wants to mow like a pro, Ferris is there with commercial-grade mowers to keep you going strong. Others have tried, but there's a difference you can feel only on a Ferris. And you can find a Ferris at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. 7 locations in Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood Moore, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply can be found online at dickenssupply.com.
All right, downtown 40 eastbound. Got a crash there near Broadway. Also an accident, right shoulder block 40 westbound just past Fessler's Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. It is hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. Hope everyone's having a great afternoon. Hey, look at there. Donald Trump's threatening new tariffs on dairy and lumber from Canada. Well, it's a day that ends in Y. We're not talking about that right now. We're going to get into a few other things. In the meantime, we've got Oreos to eat later on today. J St Clair will receive none because I can't fit them through the Zoom machine. If I
Virtual
could,
Oreo?
I mean, if I could, I would. I've got, I don't want to give him a heads up. He's probably listening right now.
I think he is.
How much you think, how much would y'all be willing to wager that J St Clair does not know who Post Malone is?
Oh, I wouldn't make that bet.
I would bet it all.
You think?
I mean, unless we, like, so much so that he could pick him out of a lineup.
No. I don't think he could do that.
I think Jay's smart enough to figure it out,
Yeah.
So, I mean, he makes cookies, apparently, because we got some Post Malone Oreos right here in the studio. And we've got J St Clair on the line. Let's go ahead and do it. Man, oh, man. Some folks say that this is their favorite hour of the week, which is pretty nice. Yeah. And kind of makes my day. It's J St Clair. He is my best friend, our legal correspondent on the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Good Tennessee man. And he's my golfing buddy and my gambling buddy and everything else. Mm-hmm. My life consultant. Yeah. He's J St Clair. What's up, Jay? How are you?
Hey, buddy. If I was any better, I would be Mrs. Beasley.
She's got it going on, buddy.
When I saw that video I showed you of that Jack Russell, I think chasing emus. It owned me. Absolutely owned me. And then one of them turned around and confronted her.
Right.
And she took off running away.
Right. That is exactly Miss Beasley, too, buddy. She is a tough talker, but when the chips go down, she's probably going to hightail it right behind me or you or anybody else around. That's pretty good. I liked by the way, I want to share the joke that you shared with the audience on the X machine. Husband comes in and says, "What? You know what, honey? I saw I'm going to change it to a raccoon. I saw a raccoon on the way to work today." This is funny. I'm going to do it to Chris. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I saw a raccoon on the way to work today.
Really?
Yeah. And you say,
how do you know it was going to work?
How do you know it's going to work?
Yeah, I saw that one coming. That's good.
I don't know. It's the little things in life, my friend. How you doing, Jay? Is everything all right with you?
No, it's great. It's a beautiful day down here. I had an interesting day. It's always funny when lawyers do home improvement projects because it ends up looking like an I Love Lucy episode. And, so my project today was to trade out a pump on a power washer.
Uh-huh.
And it was quite an adventure.
Oh, I bet. I've had my round and round with pressure washers, buddy.
Yeah,
And,
so now I'm down to the point where the old motor, the pump, was driven by a gear that's on the shaft coming out of the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the new one does not have a gear. It has a key. So now I have to somehow get this gear off the shaft. And there's no immediately obvious way how to do that.
Jay,
I think I'm going to need a gear puller.
Yeah. Here's the question: How old is your pressure washer?
Probably about your age.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
not quite that.
You know what?
I'd say it's 25 years old.
25-year-old pressure washer.
Right.
Might be time to come off your wallet, Jay.
Well, I mean, the motor, though, it's one of those 5-horsepower Honda motors. Hondas, they just make those great little motors. And the pump's $100.
Uh-huh.
A new pressure washer would be $400. And you know me, I love to tinker with things.
Yeah, that's true.
And now with YouTube and the internet and whatnot, everybody's an expert in everything.
Well, that's right.
I think I told you that my crowning accomplishment in the last few years was repairing my own dishwasher. And I mean, I'm more proud of that than anything I've done practicing law.
Y'all, this man has won cases before the United States Supreme Court.
Yeah, right. And I fixed my dishwasher.
And he fixed his dishwasher.
Uh-huh.
Jay, I have every confidence in the world that you're going to outlive me. But if you don't, I'm saying that at your funeral. I'm saying this man fixed his own dishwasher.
But there's something, I come on here to give advice. I love to give advice, but there's times I need advice, and I need some advice right now, ma'am.
Okay.
I like to eat fruit in the morning with breakfast, but I hate out of season fruit. I hate it. The fake oranges and stuff when it's not in season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I stumbled on blueberries, and blueberries apparently are in season right now, and I love them.
Yeah.
They're great, but I can't figure out the best way to eat blueberries.
Huh.
So I just reach down and get a handful and just eat them by hand. But I don't know. There must be a better way, but I can't figure out what to do.
So you're looking for blueberry advice. The best way to consume, well, I mean, now, obviously, I can tell you that some folks are going to go smoothie on you. Are you interested in smoothie?
I want raw blueberries.
Okay. Well,
so what do? You can't use a fork. I can't.
Well, I mean, are you looking for a recipe? Because, I mean, if you're
No. What is the best way to get raw blueberries
in
from
your mouth,
my plate to my mouth without dropping them on the floor or looking like an Alabama fan?
Well, God Almighty gave us the best forks in the world. They're called our hands, Jay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I do is just take it, pick up a handful of them, drop a couple of them, and then put them in my mouth.
The question is, how does Olivia like blueberries?
Well, by the time I'm done with breakfast, there's 4 or 5 of them on the floor. But she's waiting for the bacon. She's not giving it up for blueberries.
Did you hear where there's some sections of the UK that want to ban bacon?
Yeah, well, they can send it over here.
Yeah, that's what I said. These Muslim communities, and apparently the Muslim folks don't like bacon, which is fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
If y'all don't like bacon, don't eat bacon. More bacon for Jay, more bacon for Matt.
That's right.
But banning bacon, I mean, the British have put up with a lot over the integration of their society.
Right.
I don't think they're going to put up with the bacon ban.
No, I wouldn't give up bacon.
No.
That's funny.
No,
That's funny.
How much bacon does Olivia get in the mornings? That's the question.
Yeah, because they're not supposed to eat pork. I'll give her maybe 3 bites, not a whole piece, a whole, what do you call it, a slab of bacon? No, I guess a piece of bacon.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't get a whole piece of bacon. She doesn't get a half piece of bacon. She gets maybe 3 bites, enough to taste it.
Yeah, that's right. Enough to feel like she's getting. I like to, and E hates it, but I like to occasionally, not all the time, but let the dog experience what I'm experiencing. Because we're a pack, right? Give them a little something.
That's right. No, I agree with that completely. I think it makes her feel like we are simpatico.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That I love her, and she's going to experience the same things in life that I experience. But I don't want to experience all the things in life that she experiences.
You're getting a lot of responses on the super text line on the blueberry front.
Oh, good.
And some folks are not listening. Well, that's fine. That's okay. I mean, our late great Phil Valentine said Van Gogh, so they're giving you recipes, and that's fine. Vanilla yogurt and pancakes.
That's okay.
But here's the deal. Some folks are just funny. Sylvie writes in and says, "Tell Jay to use tweezers."
Okay, now that's the kind of effort I was looking for. I love it.
Dawn says, "Stab them. They don't roll."
No, they're pretty hard to stab.
Well,
I got a little tiny blueberries.
1285 says, "Use a toothpick."
Ooh.
Now that's actually
that.
That's actually pretty good.
I like that. That's smart.
That is actually pretty good. And then a lot of people are saying, "Jay, you are a Southerner, and the way to consume blueberries." 2433 says, "As a Southerner, Jay, the best way to consume blueberries is to trade them with someone for blackberries." That's good.
I was thinking about that. We've been in blackberry winter down here this week a little bit. I wonder how many of your listeners are familiar with that phrase.
Blackberry winter.
Blackberry winter.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That means that it's gotten cold. You got a cold snap going?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of Indian summer.
Uh-huh. Right.
Right, because so you go through summer, we get into fall, and then you get it comes out and gets a little bit warmer, when we call that Indian summer. Well, blackberry winter is the opposite of that. We've come out of winter, we're into spring, and now we got a cold snap. So it's blackberry winter, and I think it's called that because that's either when the blackberries, I think that's when they're ripe, or maybe when they are blooming now. I think it's when they're ripe.
My grandpa is the smartest man I ever met. You're close second, Jay, but Pa was always the smartest man I ever knew. And my grandpa taught me some really good advice about wild blackberries.
Oh, yeah?
Pick them above the pea line. So that's good wisdom. That's good wisdom.
Smart man.
Smart man. And we're not just talking about humans. We're talking about all sorts of God's critters.
Absolutely.
Pick them above the pea line. So we've got chopsticks. We got that one on.
No, I'm going to go with the toothpick before the chopsticks.
I think Bryant has the best idea so far, is just you pour your blueberries into a wine glass and just pour them from the wine glass into your mouth.
Ooh. Was that Brian?
Bryant.
Bryant, you're brilliant.
Pretty good.
See, I was thinking about what do they call those little dishes, ramekins, or I can't think.
Oh boy, you're talking about my pay grade. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting them in that like a little bitty bowl, and then just kind of getting them out of the bowl. But then they're going to fall down the side of my mouth. But now wine glass, I have a lot of experience drinking from a wine glass. That's what I like about this idea. Man.
Or you could just skip that step, find yourself some blueberry wine, and then there you go. Jay, I got to ask you, let's take a short time out. I want to ask you about this Supreme Court deal that went down this week, and then we're going to take telephone calls. If you have a question of a legal matter of any variety, now's the time to get it in. Jay will answer any and all questions. Jay, what do you like to say about answering these questions? You are what? What are you?
Often wrong, but never in doubt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have an answer for everything.
615-737-9986. It's the Murphy Show. It's Fri-Jay on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Is your AC running smoothly? Have you turned it on yet this year? Many of you probably have turned it on once or twice, and if you've not gotten that maintenance done, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. Jeff Eddy, in Efficient Heating and Cooling, encourages you to do that. He doesn't say this because he wants to do a maintenance call. He says this because you need him to do a maintenance call. It's as simple as this, folks. Your AC unit is an expensive item, right? For some of you, it would be, thousands of dollars to replace that. And Jeff Eddy wants you to get maximum life out of that AC. And the way you do it is to maintenance it. I mean, you take your car in for an oil change, goodness sake. You can do this for your AC. It will never cost you over $125 on a residential unit, no matter where you are and no matter how many units you have on your property. Oftentimes, it's much less than that with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy, Efficient Heating and Cooling, they can come out and they can fix it. And if it's time, they'll tell you it's time. And they don't want to, but if it is, they'll tell you. And they're an Elite Pro partner with the Ream, so they can recommend something good for you. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net.
The Hackman's cause of death has been released. We'll get you that and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of you on the phone lines. We'll get to your questions for J St Clair coming up in just moments. Blueberry Talk has consumed the Super Text line, although I see a question or two about legal matters in there as well. This is one of the reasons I love our listening audience and what I do for a living. Especially on the Super Text line, Jay. Everybody's an expert. I got these two as soon as my page loads up here. I got. Are you there, Jay?
Yeah, I'm here.
I got you. I got these two Super Texts in order, right one behind the other. You ready?
Yep.
We most certainly have a blackberry winter. That's number one. Number two. Sorry, guys, it is not blackberry winter.
Yeah, that sums up the internet. Right there.
That's exactly right.
Well, we may not be in BlackBerry winter this week, but there is such a thing as
Yes.
BlackBerry winter.
No question.
No doubt about it.
And actually, one of our texters, I kind of lost the text. Oh, yeah. Andy writes in and says, as I understand it, we get redbud winter, dogwood winter, locust winter, then blackberry winter. No, okay. Well, that's fine.
Yep. No, yeah, I went down that rabbit hole too, and I think he's exactly right.
There you go. All right, many questions coming in for you, Jay. But my question, I get to go first because my name's on the door. What do you make of this Supreme Court deal? I mean, Samuel Alito did not make much of the majority ruling against Donald Trump in this deal this week. What do you make of it?
Not a lot, Matt. So here's the deal. A judge entered a TRO, temporary restraining order. This is very short-term emergency kind of thing. It said, no, y'all got to pay out $2 billion. And normally those aren't even appealable, Matt. But they got it all the way up to Supreme Court, like within 24 hours. And the court ruled 5-4 that they weren't going to stop that order.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read a whole lot into it, Matt. It's extremely rare for these short-term temporary injunctions to make their way to the United States Supreme Court. If you forced me to draw some conclusion from it, it would be that the court was not going to decide an issue of this import without getting full briefs and arguments and understanding all the nuances of it. And when they're in that mode, that they're better to just let the status quo stand. So, but they are going at 90 miles an hour. I'm just amazed that so much thought and preparation went into this, man. It's amazing. They've had to been thinking about this for years, and there's just so much happening. Drinking out of a fire hose,
mm-hmm.
and they're not going to get it right. Nobody bats 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going, and we'll see. I think at the end of the day, they will get the majority of what they want, not only on cost cutting, but on these other things as well. I just saw something that said Kristi Noem. I think I'm saying her name right.
Uh-huh.
And no, I have no idea who that goober was y'all were talking about. But Kristi Noem says she is going to deauthorize the union, the public employee union for the Department of Health, of the department she's in charge of.
Yeah, Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm. Homeland Security. I don't think she's got the authority to do that, but we'll see. They are pressing the envelope in every direction.
Well, and you and I have talked about this, about several matters, to include birthright citizenship. We've discussed that over the weeks, and if you press the envelope, as you put it, like they're doing, some are going to press a little too far, and that's what the courts. But that's what the courts are there for.
Well, no, that's right. It's kind of like racing, man. I mean, we're always looking for the ragged edge going, and you have to sit there and listen to me talk about this a lot. Where you got to win races, you have to find the absolute limit of traction.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find how fast can I go without breaking traction. Well, there's only one way to do that, man.
Break traction.
You got to break traction.
Jay, I know for a fact that Barber Motorsports, turns 3 and 4 were wearing you out. You felt like you were losing time. Turns 3 or 4. I think I have the turns numbers right.
No, you got it exactly right. Well, it's really 2 and 3 up in the carousel.
And you just had to turn it around one time just to see where the limit was, right?
Well, I looped it 2 or 3 times.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you say, where the traction breaks now. Have you heard, by the way, before I get to some calls, have you heard this new Dolly Parton song?
No. No, is it the song to her husband?
If you
the one she dedicated?
Yeah, it's called it's for him. I mean, it is written for Carl Dean. It's called If You Hadn't Been There.
Oh.
And boy, it'll get dust in your eyes.
Well, don't tell me about it. I don't want to break down crying.
No. I'm gonna let you listen to it on your own time.
Yeah, I'll go listen to it.
All right, let's get to as many as we can. John is in Columbia for J St Clair. John, you're on Fri-Jay. What's going on, buddy?
Yes, sir. So I got a question. So if somebody accuses you of something falsely, you get arrested and you have to bail out of jail, and then come to find out you weren't even in the state at the time they're accusing you of doing this, you can't get your money back for bail or anything. They just falsely accused you of something to do it. Do you have any kind of repercussions? Because the police told me my best interest was to let it go.
Well, you could sue the person who lied on you for defamation. You don't have any claim against the police unless they had no reason to believe it was true, which is most unlikely. Somebody just lied.
I mean, there was no proof. She basically said I assaulted her. I was in another state when this supposedly happened.
Yeah.
But she did it as a broke-up girlfriend.
But the proof was her saying that. Her testimony is proof. She just didn't have a corroborating. But your remedy is to sue
anything
her.
About you, and you just go to jail.
Did you hear that, John?
Yep.
Jay says that if you sue her, you got to sue her.
Yeah, you can't sue the police. You got to sue her, and she probably ain't got no money.
But if anybody says anything false about you and they arrest you, you just go to jail automatically. You can't get that money back or anything unless you sue.
No, you can't get it back from the state. No,
and you can't. You can't get it back from bail bondsman if you used a bail bondsman. They're not going to give you that money back. So
no, you got to sue. You got to sue the person that lied on you.
Yeah, the officer that arrested me told me that it happens all the time. That disgruntled girlfriends will say something about their ex-boyfriend or whatever, and you'll go to jail no matter what they say. And if you prove that it didn't happen, you're still just. The lucky thing is you didn't go to jail for it, basically.
Well, I'm sorry, John, but that's exactly the way it works. What you can do is sue the person that lied on you.
Yeah. And that's just, our system, what is the old saying? It's not perfect. It's the best thing going. It's not perfect.
That's right.
31 after the hour. Jay's the best thing going, and we got Fri-Jay to continue. More of your calls coming up, your super text as well. It's time for news with Ken Weaver.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. A cause of death has been released in the deaths of actor Jean Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa Hackman.
The cause of death for Mr. Jean Hackman, aged 95 years, is hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, with Alzheimer's disease as a significant contributory factor.
New Mexico's chief medical officer, Dr. Heather Jarrell, says Hackman's wife, Betsy, died days before.
The cause of death for Miss Betsy Hackman, aged 65 years, is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome.
Happened about 7 days before Hackman died. Hantavirus, by the way, is a rare disease linked to rodents. Today, the Trump administration canceled $400 million in grants to Columbia University for harassment of Jewish students that happened during pro-Palestine protests after Hamas attacked Israel. And Columbia University is just the start. There could be as many as 6 other colleges and universities that get stripped of vital funding for anti-Semitic actions. Here in Nashville, Channel 4 says about 20 people protested Doge cuts outside a federal building downtown.
I'm sad for all of our federal employees who are really the backbone of the federal government. I'm emotionally distraught. I worry for my children and my grandchildren.
Hayes Ridge Lane in Antioch. SWAT called out after reports that a suspect would shoot police if they responded to a report of 2 incidents of domestic violence, the suspect threatening to hurt kids inside the home. Negotiators say the suspect ended up shooting and killing himself. The children were found safe, but the victim had injuries that require surgery. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, police reporting a crash 40 eastbound near Broadway, also 40 westbound past Fessler's Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Gentlemen, Tennessee Men's Clinic is here for you if and when you need them. I say if and when because some men are blessed with not having energy-related issues when it comes to their testosterone over the course of their life, but some of you will have to deal with this. Over half of you, as a matter of fact. At some point in your life, your T levels dip enough. This is a natural occurrence for many men. Your T levels dip enough where it begins to impact you, whether it's at the gym, whether it's working out of doors, or whether it is in those intimate moments with you and your loved one. If this is happening to you, you don't have to put up with it, men. It's not just a way of life. Let's get with the Tennessee Men's Clinic and give them a prescription for success. You'll have that when you call Tennessee Men's Clinic. They'll meet with you. Their qualified urologist will sit down with you, talk with you, go over some things, get some blood work from you, and then you are off to the races with a plan of action that is going to work. Tennessee Men's Clinic has 2 locations as well. One just south of the city in the Cool Springs, Franklin area, and the other Midtown location that's been there since 2014, serving gentlemen just like you. Men in the thousands have turned to Tennessee Men's Clinic, and it works. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or call 615-208-9090. That's 208-9090.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
I love getting random super text that have no context with them whatsoever. For example, by the way, Matt Murphy here. Jay's joining us. It is Fri-Jay. We're in the progress of answering some of your legal questions. 38 minutes after the hour, 615-737-9986. This, 2862 writes in, who was the lady that was speaking? That's it.
What lady?
Like I say, no context whatsoever. Just who is the lady that was speaking?
I bet they're talking about the lady on Ken's cast.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
New Mexico medical office.
Maybe so.
Oh, that lady. You know, she was a protester outside the federal building protesting Doge.
Oh, yeah.
Want to hear her?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, you ready?
Let's listen in.
All right, now here we go.
Here we are.
I'm sad for all of our federal employees.
That's not real.
Who are really the backbone
Ken,
of the federal government. I'm emotionally distraught. I worry for my children and my grandchildren.
That's a real woman.
Ken Weaver.
Yes, sir. That's a real woman. I saw her on Channel 4.
I understand that I sit here for 4 hours every day making your job more difficult by being just a fool. But you have a reputation to uphold in there. That is not a real woman.
It is, man. I watched her on Channel 4.
By the way, it did not go unnoticed by me. Y'all remember right at the 4 o'clock hour, we were wondering whether Jay knew who Post Malone was. Did y'all hear him slip it in?
Oh,
No.
I didn't hear that.
What did he say?
Jay, Jay said, what'd you say, Jay?
I had no idea who that goomer is.
Who that goober? They call him Post Malone. They let that fella, Jay, this is going to make you mad. They let this fella that all the kids are listening to nowadays sing a song on the diving board of Elvis Presley's pool at Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't understand what the world's coming to, honestly.
Well, 21st century is not turning out like I thought it would, man.
Well, let's help the poor and downtrodden by talking with Diana in Murfreesboro. Miss Diana, you're on with J St Clair on Fri-Jay.
Yes, sir. I'm going to try and make this short. My husband, 3 years ago, went to work for a man with his company and wanted my husband to be basically a part of his company as a supervisor, all that stuff. But in the meantime, our personal truck was being used for his company. Never in the 2 years did he make a vehicle payment, insurance, pay for repairs, nothing like that. Well, in that 2 years, we put over 150,000 miles on our truck, which brought our truck to 400,000 miles on it, which it's a diesel and it, they do good. Well,
Sure.
He was pulling a trailer of his and the transmission went out. The man paid for the transmission, but then expected us to pay him $200 a week to pay back for the transmission. Now, this was in March of last year. And my husband told him, we're not paying for that transmission. This truck is running the street for your company. You should pay for this transmission. Well, in April, he fired my husband. Then we got a paper from him for taxes that said he was a non-employee and it was a contribution, expecting us to pay taxes and claim this transmission as income.
Huh.
So we talked to our accountant, and he told us to contact the labor board. Well, we did that, and they told us that's not who we needed to talk to. So we're not really sure what we should or should not, or who we can.
Was he drawing? Yeah. Was it Diana? Was he drawing a paycheck?
Yes, he was.
Were taxes being withheld from the paycheck?
Yes, they were.
So he was being treated like an employee the whole time. I think there's two issues. I think you've got two issues going on. Let me deal with them separately. First of all, is the issue of your husband using his personal vehicle for his job. That's not against the law. If when he was hired, he was told he was going to have his own personal vehicle, and the company would not reimburse him for that, then that's.
No, he was not told that. We offered our truck.
But ma'am, within a week or two, he knew that he was having to use his own vehicle, didn't he? I mean, there came a time when he realized that he was having to use his own vehicle.
Correct.
He knew that pretty quick. Did he ever say to the company, "Hey, are y'all going to reimburse me for my vehicle?"
Yes, several times. And every time that we had damages done to the vehicle that had to be fixed, we would give him the receipts for it to pay us back, and we never ever got paid back.
That was just was just an unspoken arrangement.
Yeah, that's part of y'all's contract, so to speak, is that you come to work for me, I'll pay you X amount of money, but you're going to have to travel as part of the job, and you got to be responsible for your own vehicle. That's legal. There's nothing. I mean, that's legal. And then the second issue is something about after he was let go or separated. He sent you some kind of paper. I didn't quite get all that said he was not an employee.
Yes, we received a 1099-NE, I think is what it was, the letters were, and it said a non-employee contribution, and it was for the transmission.
Oh, so he's trying to he's trying to file that on his tax.
Well, that's probably right. Actually, that's probably his accountant probably told him to do that, Diana, because that money was not for wages. That was a separate gift given to him. So and nobody paid taxes on that. And so
Well,
that
they
is
have
income.
They claimed it as a business expense.
Right.
Well,
Right.
it kind of was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, somebody paid for it. Somebody's out the money. And yeah, so the bottom line, Diane, is the company's done nothing wrong. As soon if they didn't talk about the vehicle up front, pretty quickly it was obvious to your husband that he was going to have to use his vehicle to do this job, and he wasn't going to get mileage or any kind of car allowance or anything like that. I mean, at that point, he had a decision to make. He could either stay there with that understanding or leave. And his choice was to stay. And so there's nothing you can do about that. And then the guy pays to get the transmission repaired, pays for it out of his pocket. The company paid for it. And so his accountant probably told him you need to issue a 1099 for that. And so you've got to report that.
Go ahead, Diane.
According to the email that I received from his wife, their accountant told them that they should never have turned that over to the accountant for them to send us this paper. But because they have already,
I don't know what
now
that
we
means.
have to
Diana,
I have no idea what that means.
So can we? I mean, I don't mean to rush you, but we've got a lot of other people on the line. So are we?
That's fine.
Are we kind of satisfying your question? What? I mean,
Well, yes and no. I mean, you're answering my question is not what I want to hear, but yes, you're answering my question.
Yeah.
No, I get that a lot, Diana. I don't write. I don't write the laws. All I do is report them.
Well, thank you, Diana, for the call.
I'm just sad to report to tell you that you really have no remedy.
Well, it's a good.
You have not been wronged under the law.
It's a good lesson, though, and sad that, Diana and her husband had to learn it the hard way, though, is that if you come into a job with the expectation that the company's going to provide you a vehicle, and then you get along, couple weeks or month, I mean, you best bring it up because.
Right, absolutely.
Because if my transmission goes out on the way to work, my primary use of my truck is coming to and from work. And my transmission goes out. If I go to Cumulus and say, hey, I need some money for my transmission, they're going to look at me like I just ate a roach.
Well, that's right. Because going to and from work, that's personal, right? That's not
what they say, right?
Travel.
Right.
That's just going personal. But I'm understanding her to say that he drove it during the day.
Sure.
As part of his job. Well, you got to get that understanding up front. Ask them up front, well, am I going to get a car allowance? How's this going to work? And they say, no, I'm sorry, you got to pay for all that yourself. Well, then you got to take that into account and whether you want to take the job or not.
Right. Yeah, Diane, I'm sorry about that. I know that you probably didn't want to hear it, but it is what it is. Terry is next up in Tullahoma with J St Clair. Terry, what you got?
Yeah, my wife and I recently married. Each one of us are in our early 60s, and we each have a single daughter, single grown daughter, not with each other. And we have our own assets, each have our own house and own cars and bank accounts.
Right.
In lieu of a will, and if one of us passes away, we are wanting to know what would be the best way to avoid probate for our houses, our vehicles, and our bank accounts. Our houses are the only things that are not paid off. They have mortgages on them. We're going to sell one of them eventually, but we just haven't. That's my question.
Here's the way to avoid probate, is to go ahead and put the property jointly with right of survivorship into the names of the people that you want to take to have the property when you meet your maker. Let me give you an example. I've got just one heir, my son. And so what I will do when I feel like I'm getting nearer to St. Peter, I will put his name on my deed of my house. And we'll own it jointly with the right of survivorship. So when one of us dies, the other one has 100% ownership of the house. You can do the same on bank accounts. Just make the accounts joint with right of survivorship. And the main thing, and then you can do the same thing. That's what I've done with him for all my financial accounts. He's designated as the beneficiary. You can pass a lot of things outside of probate just by designating beneficiaries. So you had the house, you had same thing with cars. Just put him on the title for the car, and then same thing with bank accounts. Have I answered your question, Terry?
I have one more small question about that. So, like on the deed, and
Right.
also even on the cars, I've heard you can list the names of each party, like Terry and Terry, or Terry or Terry.
Yeah, that's right.
Boy, this is where lawyers make their money, Terry.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in this situation, you want it Terry and Carrie. That way, you're joint owners.
Okay.
All right, Terry, I'm sorry, I've got to be the one that moves, but Jay, here's what I would advise you. I would advise a rider on that with Chuck, that the house only goes to him if he's finishing painting those poles in the basement. And I get the floor.
Oh, yeah, well, you ought to get the floor. I mean, every morning when I go down to that garage and look at that floor, Matt, I have the biggest smile on my face. It just it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Well, we are running short of time. Let's take a quick timeout. Jay, hang in there for just a moment. We'll try to get one or two more in. A lot of folks asking for J St Clair on Fri-Jay on Super Talk. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Nashville Safe House. Man, they've got a lot of safes at Nashville Safe House. One for you, one for every budget, one for every fire rating. Every brand imaginable can be found at Nashville Safe House, like Browning, one of the most popular brands of safes in the market today, in America today. Fort Knox, Champion, Superior, Rhino, all available at Nashville Safe House. They've got almost sometimes over, sometimes almost 200 safes right there on the showroom floor. I mean, it's almost like a maze of safes. Then almost 400 in their warehouse. Bottom line is this: they don't have to order it. They have it already. One for you and your family. Gun safes are always sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. You need to protect those things that protect you and the family. You need to protect yourself from theft or fire, especially nowadays with all of the theft going on in Nashville. You need to talk to Mark at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com or stop by 4th Avenue South in Nashville across from City Cemetery. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House.
Jean Hackman cause of death revealed. Trump administration crackdown on universities for harassment of Jewish students. All that and more coming up at 5 on Super Talk and 99.7 WTN.
It is extended Fri-Jay on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Only about 3 more minutes to go before 5 o'clock. We got Cameron Smith coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk to him about an article out of the Tennessean. But right now, rapid fire with our man, J St Clair. A young lady that I like to call the redheaded stranger has written in and says, is it considered, Jay, copyright infringement to refer to yourself as Billy Ray Murphy while you sport an achy, breaky mullet?
I do not believe, copyright is about confusing people and who's what. I think the chances of anybody confusing Matt Murphy with Billy Ray Cyrus are 0.
You'd defend me in that case. Would you defend me in that
Yes,
case,
sir.
Jay? I appreciate
Clean
it.
kill, Matt. That's clean
kill. Hey, Matt, could you ask Jay for an update on non-competes? That was a big deal last year. Is there any update on it, or is it just kind of on the back burner?
No, and here's the deal. Now that there's been a change of administration, that was something that was happening under the Biden folks. I haven't seen the Trump folks take a position on it, but my guess is they will go in a different direction on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to happen at a federal level where they're going to outlaw non-competes nationwide. Now, each state, still can do what they want to do, but I would not count on there being a nationwide ban on non-competes.
All right, let's see if I can do this. I'm going to try to get to one more in here, at least one, maybe 2. Abigail, you are next up with the J St Clair. We're limited on time, but what's your question, ma'am?
I was
Abigail.
just wanting to find out. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just wanting to find out, how do you communicate with an attorney that is unfamiliar with trying to get a divorce from a narcissistic husband?
You get a
How do
different
you
attorney.
communicate with them?
You get a different attorney. Are you asking how do you find an attorney?
Well, the ones I've talked to, they sort of are, no sort of about it. They're very unfamiliar with narcissistic abuse. And
You got to keep
so
shopping,
it's very
Abigail.
difficult to find one that's familiar enough to defend
You just got to keep,
You got to keep shopping, Abigail. I'm sorry, but you just got to keep shopping till you find somebody you think's the right person for you.
Yeah, that's sad, but the key there, Jay, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is that if you sit down and you're not comfortable, don't keep going with somebody you're not comfortable with.
Same thing with a doctor. It's really hard to shop for doctors. We don't know if they're good or not. Same thing with lawyers.
Right.
You just got to sit down with them. I'd sit down with them face to face, and if it doesn't feel right, then you got to go shop it.
When you find best buddies, you hang on to them, though, Jay. And
That's
I've
right.
done that with you. Thank you, my friend. It's been a great edition of Fri-Jay today. I appreciate you, and have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. See you.
Take care. There's J St Clair. Good hour with him. Hey, time change coming up this weekend. We'll talk about daylight saving time in just a moment. Yay, nay, which one you want? Oh, it's an evergreen topic. We do it twice a year. It's one of my favorite things to do. I wish Donald Trump would just sign an executive order on that crap. Here comes Ken Weaver on Super Talk.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Gonna have the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Cause of death has been released in the deaths of actor Jean Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa Hackman. New Mexico's chief medical officer, Dr. Heather Jarrell.
The cause of death for Mr. Jean Hackman, aged 95 years, is hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease with Alzheimer's disease as a significant contributory factor.
Authorities have determined Hackman's wife, Betsy, died 7 days prior from hantavirus. That's a rare disease linked to rodents. Trevor Alt with more.
Hantavirus can be very deadly very quickly with a survival rate that can only go from in the 30s to 50%. It can be very deadly and it can happen quite quickly. That appears to be the case here. Now, this is a mystery that the entire world was tuned into for more than a week. You're talking about a legend in Jean Hackman. It is very sad, of course, to get these specifics, but law enforcement was adamant from the beginning that there were no signs of foul play, and it appears from these findings that they were correct.
Authorities say the pills found in the home were not a factor in either death. The Trump administration is cracking down on harassment of Jewish students. The hammer came down today on Columbia University, one of the schools where mass pro-Palestine protests broke out after Hamas started the war with Israel.
The Trump administration says this $400 million round of grant and contract cancellations is just the start, and that there's more to come. Education Secretary Linda McMahon says Columbia University has, quote, abandoned its obligation to protect Jewish students from violence, intimidation, and anti-Semitic harassment on campus. The school says it's aiming to work with the government to restore the funding and that Columbia is committed to combating anti-Semitism and ensuring the safety and well-being of students, faculty, and staff.
ABC's Selena Wang at the White House says President Trump indicated today he's about to slap a hefty tariff on a specific Canadian import.
He's planning as soon as today to put 250% tariffs on Canadian dairy and lumber. The president saying that Canada has been ripping off the U.S. for years.
And reports say President Trump indicated he's likely to extend the pause on the TikTok ban. And the man with the power to raise or cut interest rates says he's holding steady for now.
The Federal Reserve is not rushing to cut interest rates, as Chairman Jerome Powell acknowledged Friday.
The economy remains strong, but inflation does not continue to move sustainably toward 2%. We can maintain policy restraint for longer.
And when it comes to the economic effect of President Trump's policy changes,
uncertainty around the changes and their likely effects remains high.
Powell told the U.S. Monetary Policy Forum in Chicago the Fed is well positioned to wait for greater clarity.
That's Brian Clark reporting. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, convenient, and comprehensive health care for you and or your entire family. Let's talk about it. Hey, it's Matt Murphy for Grace Point, where they are a direct pay primary care provider. Why is this important to you? One, because the insurance company does not get into the way of what the doctor believes that you need to solve your issue. Oftentimes it is the case, and we don't talk about it very much because that's kind of the system. Not so at Grace Point Healthcare. They believe in helping you find the root cause of your issue, getting to the root cause and solving it, not just prescribing something for it and not just overlooking it because the insurance company doesn't want to pay. That's what it's all about, folks. Now, at Grace Point, as your primary care provider, they can treat your entire family as well, from newborns to seniors. They're going to see you next day or even same day in a lot of cases, even for brand new patients. Secondarily, you can sign up for the Smart Care Plan, which is just $69 a month and includes free office visits for the entire year and free basic labs and diagnostics. Call them today at 599-6868. They're located in the heart of Franklin. They want to see you. 599-6868. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Grace Point Healthcare. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
All right, still seeing this crash. Going to be westbound of 40 there at Fessler's Lane. It's off on the shoulder, but there's a lot of traffic out there anyway, and you got to get over. to give first responders plenty of room. And in Madison, we've got a stalled vehicle on the right shoulder. That's going to be 65 northbound right before Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Show. I was just in the middle of a pithy X Machine post. It was actually a response. Yeah, y'all want to watch me finish it up? We're just cranking up the 5 o'clock hour. Glad to have y'all with us. 7 minutes after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Be entertaining radio. Watch him.
I would think so. Well, you'll appreciate it when I tell you what it was about. So there's Chris Webber. He's behind the glass. There's Ken Weaver behind Chris Webber in News Closet B. He's gathering headlines.
How about you?
What's going on? We got Oreos to eat, fellas.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget that.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to forget that. I'm waiting on my man Cameron Smith to get here so we can have a foursome to test and review the Post Malone Oreo cookies.
I don't know, boys. I'm trying to watch my figure.
Okay, then. All right. Well, that's
your loss.
That's your loss. I mean, you're not going to get any argument out of it. Slit appears when opened. I've heard that.
Moving on.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it says on the package. I couldn't figure out how to get into them, and apparently, I'm not really sure I understand what they're saying. One way or the other, y'all want to know how many? Don't look too deeply into Oreo cookies regarding their calorie count.
And the serving size?
If you're holding a package of Oreos, you should not care.
That's true. Yeah.
And I was anti-government forcing calorie on product like this, and I've kind of come around to it because I like the information, and I don't think products like Oreo cookies had any interest on putting it on there. But you want to know the calories per serving is 140.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Guess how many cookies?
1,
2. The great answer is 2. So there's about 10 servings per container. Meaning we got 1,400 calories to consume today, fellas. Amongst 4 men, I think we can take care of it. No, what I was finishing up because young Jeff Malinoff, a.k.a. KGB, the erstwhile producer of Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, has expressed some concern about social media on social media.
Okay.
Let me finish. And so his concern was, social media may be the worst thing to happen in modern society, writes KGB. Everyone is so vile and awful to each other, and they feel safe behind their phones. No more human interaction. It's all keyboard bleep holes. No more common decency. And I feel like, just between us three, that's a well thought out, cogent.
Yeah.
That's a very intelligent remark. You know how I'm responding?
Can't wait.
Why don't you shut your damn filthy mouth, you jerk?
You should say you Brewski or something like that.
Oh, dadgummit, I shouldn't have.
Commie.
You commie jerk.
There you go.
Commie jerk. All right, I'm going to correct it. I'm going to say I should have said commie, all in caps, jerk. Okay, there you go. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
See,
very nice.
See how I'm doing that? Yeah, that's nice. It is Daylight Saving Time weekend this weekend. If you have any thoughts on that, by all means, 615-737-9986. It feels like an evergreen topic that we do twice a year. Twice a year we get on this subject, and twice a year people get up in arms about it. Twice a year people say, yeah, we need to do something about this. And then twice a year it comes and goes, and everybody goes, okay. Why? I mean, if we can eliminate the penny, if Donald Trump can eliminate the penny, which he claims to be doing, if Donald Trump can empower Elon Musk to cut almost $4 billion, with a B, dollars of spending a day, which is what Elon Musk is desiring to do between now and September, why in the world can't we do this? Now, I understand, and some of you are saying, well, Donald Trump has put it on the back burner. Donald Trump said he's not going to do it. It's a little more complex than that. And I'm going to try to go through it, and everybody always gets confused, and everyone ends up mad at me for some reason. But I'm going to try to get through it. States voluntarily entered this daylight saving time deal with the United States of America. States volunteered to do it. Some states didn't do it. Arizona's one of them. And Hawaii's another, because they're off in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And there were portions of states that refused to do it too, where they said, no, we're not doing this stupid daylight saving time thing. We're going to stay on standard time. Standard time is known as winter time, right? That's what we're in right now. We're in standard time. That's what the time was before we did daylight saving time all the time. Y'all with me so far? But then we did the daylight saving time deal where we shifted up an hour in the spring, summer, and fall months in order to take advantage of daylight, to use less energy, to give more time for, there's a lot of different reasons thrown out there, and I'm not going to bog down on the reasoning, but it was to use less energy from electricity and to utilize daylight more in the evenings because people were lazy and they weren't getting up early in the mornings. I mean, because you can't make daylight. There's the same amount of daylight.
You're just shifting the time.
You're just shifting the time that the daylight comes around. So any state, including the state of Tennessee, if the state of Tennessee wanted to, right now, the General Assembly could pass a law saying we're going back to standard time and screw the government. We could do that if we wanted to. But we can't. But what we can't do is make a law that stays on daylight saving time. All right, y'all with me so far? So we could opt out of the system and stay on standard time this time, the time that everybody hates, the time that everybody says sucks. We could stay here without needing the federal government to do a dang thing. But if we want to go to daylight saving time, we need the federal government's help. And therein lies the rub, because we can't get everybody on the same page. Now, the reason that the state of Tennessee won't do that on their own is because no other state's going to do that, and will create mass confusion because we've got 8 border states, and every other one of them would be on daylight saving time or not on daylight saving time, and we wouldn't know what the hell time it was if we got out of the state. Y'all with me so far? Y'all follow? So what we have to have is not an executive order from Donald Trump. What we have to have is the Congress to fix it. There's several ways you can fix it. One, you could stay on standard time, which we as a state could do anyway. Number 2, you could create permanent daylight saving time, saying we're gonna go to daylight saving time and we're never going back. You could split the difference, but it's been described to me. I thought I had a brilliant idea, but I just got interrupted because a big jerk just walked into the control room and took my picture. And I know why. Because he thinks my hair looks funny. What a jerk.
I did my own research, Matt.
Did you?
Welcome to the free state of Cameron, where it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hello, Cameron.
Hi.
Nice of you to show up 2 days late.
Hey. The traffic on 65 because of...
You tried to come up 24, didn't you?
No, because of 24. 24 is like the weird cousin that screws up everything.
That's true. That's true.
Good grief.
We blame 24 on what happened to Chris Webber earlier north of the city on I-65.
That's
yes.
right. Yeah.
Everything's 24's
Well,
fault.
it was probably somebody who had just merged off of 24.
Well, probably so.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that for a second. So does this make sense to everybody that we as a state could go back to the way that it used to be all the time?
Yep.
But what we can't do is permanently go to daylight saving time without the government saying, no, you can't do that.
We can do whatever.
I mean,
we
I
want.
guess we could do that if we wanted to, but then who's going to follow us?
Well,
stupid Georgia.
I think we should just make Tennessee one time zone. How about that? Let's get really weird if we're doing
too
it.
damn long. I'm sorry. I'm cursing a lot today, and I apologize. We're too dang long, man. I say we. I've been here 3 years. Can I say we now?
Yeah.
We're too dang long. We're long.
Yep. I live with teenage boys, so I'm laughing right now.
My favorite stat, I've always said my favorite statistic is that at any given moment of your life, you're less than 3 feet away from a spider. My second favorite statistic is that it is further from Memphis, Tennessee to Bristol, Tennessee than it is from Bristol, Tennessee to Canada. Yes. And that is a fact.
Yep.
It's a long state.
Yes. I have driven from one
and not
one
very
end to the
girthy.
Other.
Now,
you're just trolling me now. You got to stop that, brother. I can't.
Why don't you go home and have a conversation with your 4 boys about, young men, let's have a geography lesson about the lack of girth in the state of Tennessee and see what happens.
It's a lot right now with all the teenage boys that
What are their ages?
15, 13, and 10. Yes.
Wait, you got 5 now?
Yeah. I collected another one. It's okay. Whoever shows up, your family at the Smith household, we'll feed you. You're good.
I mean, if I show up, I'm good?
Yes, of course.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we do it.
Maybe not after we fight. We're going to fight over your
I've been following you on social media, and you are just fiery. I can tell.
Spicy.
You want a bacon ban? Screw you guys. More for me.
I mean, what? Do you see him over there?
The interwebs have got you keyed up, man.
Let me tell you something. There's no way. If there's any hill the Brits might be willing to die on, it's bacon.
Probably.
I would hope.
Yeah.
Giving up your country to these interlopers, and now they're telling you they want to ban your bacon. Come on.
Because of sensitivity.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. And really, and I know that this is a faith-based argument over there, but whatever. We've gotten to a point where it's not enough that I tell you, you can live a life any way you want to live your life. No, that's not enough. I have to alter my life to comport with the way you want to live with your life. That's the way I feel in 2025. And I'm like, no, that's not the way any of this works.
Yeah, well, what people have now figured out is that you can tell the West what to do as long as you call them a big meanie. If you're like, you're just not being very sensitive.
Right.
Now, you don't actually have to be sensitive, but if you tell them they're not, and they're biggest bigots, racist, misogynist, all the ists, then they're like, oh, well, I will not act. I will do whatever you want. And at some point, you just have to say no.
Yeah. No.
I mean, you don't have to be mean.
Well,
no.
and you know what? I feel like in some ways there are some little moments in time where I think, I think common sense is working here. And I had one of those moments when old Gavin Newsom starts a podcast. And for some inexplicable reason, he decided to invite Charlie Kirk as one of his initial guests on his podcast,
obviously,
as you would do. And then he agrees with Charlie Kirk about the lack of fairness allowing biological males to compete in female sports. The same guy that signed the law in California that says that you must allow biological males to compete in female athletics is now saying, yeah, that's not fair.
What if I told you that Gavin Newsom was a lizard person who's going to run for president?
No.
How does that strike you?
No. You're telling me that he's realizing that 2 years out that he needs to kind of get all these things, his ducks in a row to make sure that middle America doesn't think he's an absolute flake?
If you say it far enough out from the time you want to run, maybe they'll buy it.
Oh, that's what we were talking about this earlier this week, right? I mean, so you throw it out there now, and then you don't talk about it for a while, and then you declare you're running for president, and then somebody brings it up, and you go, no, I addressed this long ago. I've long held this with this belief.
With the exception of Congressman Tim Burchett, our entire political class has no moral conviction. And the moral conviction Burchett has is that he doesn't like stocks, and he likes comic books and then baseball cards, and that's where he's invested.
Somebody told me, and I don't know if it's true or not, so I'll repeat it on a 100,000-watt radio station.
Big if true.
Big if true, that Congressman Mark Green's now worth $40 million.
Well, that is big if true.
That's
definitionally.
That's what someone told me. I was also told, and I have more corroboration
you can pull it.
on this.
It's on file. It's public record.
I feel like I could, too. 30 to 40 million is what the figure was. So I went with the high end.
Yeah, they
make it
do
more
ranges on their
sensational.
finance
Right.
reports.
So Elizabeth Warren, $285,000 salary, most money she's ever made in her life. She's worth $67 million.
Guys, look, I don't know.
They're just all really good at stocks.
I don't know if you've heard of world-renowned artist Hunter Biden. Who it's weird, but his paintings are not selling now.
What?
I know, guys.
What?
We've got to get to the bottom of this because art trends seem to have changed, aligned with political realities.
The next thing you'll tell me is that the Clinton Foundation's not doing well.
It's fun. It's funny how this stuff happens, but the truth is, I've watched a lot of members of Congress get advances on book deals and things like that, and they would make a lot of money from doing that stuff. Like, they make a lot of money off their reputation as a firebrand or whatever, and then they write a book, and the publisher gives them an advance, and they go on a book tour. I mean, it's possible to make a nice chunk of money off being a career politician. That's the truth.
Sad but true. All right, Cameron's with us for the duration. I'll lock the door, and we'll have a good time for the rest of our Friday. We'll get to Mark in a moment. Your calls as well, 615-737-9986. We got Ninkpoops in the news coming up. Plus, we've got an Oreo taste test. Did you know we're doing an Oreo taste test today?
I see the Oreos. I was wondering what you're doing.
Yeah, we got the Post Malone Oreos. Let's see what this is all about. I've actually, in the interest of full disclosure, I've had them. I've had some of them.
They're like little pieces of Post Malone in them?
I haven't had any of these. I don't know why these are necessarily Post Malone, except that it says, we talked about this at the 3 o'clock hour. I know you didn't listen. Posty.
Posty.
That's what it says right here on the package. Posty's swirled. So that's his nickname.
Okay.
But is Post his real name?
No, his name is Austin, I think.
So Post is his nickname.
Yeah. And Posty is his nickname.
It's superlative. It's more post than post. It's Posty.
So he's Post, but to his friends, he's Posty.
No, his friends call him Pre.
What? All right, you're now who's trolling who around here?
He just nerded you so hard.
I'm very confused. It's 23 after the hour. I'm not confused about this. It's Super Talk. Men of Valor knows what works when it comes to reducing crime, ladies and gentlemen. It's transformation, not just rehabilitation. Their faith-based program equips men leaving prison to become responsible fathers, employees, and citizens. But they need your help. Call your legislators. We've got a big day on the Hill coming up, and I want you to call your legislator and tell them you support Men of Valor, because when these men succeed, Tennessee communities are safer. And if you want to see the impact that Men of Valor is making firsthand, I invite you to join me at the Men of Valor Annual Breakfast, March 26th in Nashville at the Music City Center. There's also an event April 17th in Knoxville at the Knoxville Convention Center. You can hear powerful stories about transformation and redemption as we celebrate second chances. Learn how Men of Valor helps reconcile men to God and their families and society. Your support helps provide hope and a fresh start. Sign up today at movministry.com. That's movministry.com. Tell the folks that Matt Murphy sent you to Men of Valor.
New details on the death of Jean Hackman and his wife in New Mexico. These and other stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
How far away is Pulaski? That's what we're trying to figure out in the studio right now. By the way, you can join us on Super Talk TV. Why are you taking pictures of me? That's what I want to know. By the way, it's Matt Murphy Show. Cameron Smith is in because he missed on Wednesday, and that's all good. And now we've got him on Friday.
I posted online to tell him to listen.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like you're picking on my haircut. I begged
I think somebody's a little self-conscious.
Here's the thing. I begged a barber. Y'all notice that no barber has shown up? No barber has offered their services? Does this mean that my haircut's a lot better than I thought it was? You can look on Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Like and subscribe when you do that. Costs you, what's it cost you again? Absolutely nothing.
Mm.
Yeah.
By the way,
nothing.
Yeah, thank you, Ken.
Pulaski's about an hour and 20 minutes.
That's too far. Cameron was telling me about a farm that he found
I'm looking at
in Pulaski that he's kind of eyeballing to get out and about in the middle of nowhere. And he said, it's about 45 minutes. I was like, what? Pulaski's 45 minutes from here? And he goes, no, it's 45 minutes from Nolensville. I was like, oh, well, that's.
So I'll tell you, you have the best listeners. And I mean this. So I guess this is probably a month or two ago. I just said, hey, if anybody's got any tires laying around, I could use them with my boys to flip them around and stuff, right? And
like big tires.
Like tractor tires for, exercise. And I had two people, and I talked about, the first round, but the listener, Mark, I went to his house, and he just showed me around. He was so nice.
Mm-hmm.
He was showing me his fire pit and all the things that he had built, and he built a little gun range and invited the boys out. And now I think I'm going to get the boys and we're going to go help him clean his place up, do some stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool to have listeners to this show that are just such great people. And sometimes we love the listeners, but to let people know that it's just a great family.
Finest listening audience on planet Earth.
Amen.
And it really is. It is one large family. None of my family members are willing to come and cut my hair today, but that's, Now, have you heard this story?
The Tuesday thing?
The backstory? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
You tell me.
Okay. I just want to make, it's not like I've talked about it a lot.
Hey, look, the last of the Mohicans was a great movie, and you got the haircut.
I just got told, I just got texted that it looks like I have the widest mohawk on planet Earth. That's what I was told. Just a big, wide, flat mohawk.
If I had to give you a name right now, it would be Biff.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love you, man.
I've been called a Biff, Billy Ray Cyrus, Billy Ray Murphy, Murphy Mohawk, Murphy Mullet. I've been called an anarchist. I look like an anarchist.
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. Neo-Nazi has been thrown out.
That's a little excessive.
I
would have stopped at Joe Dirt.
I feel like it's a little much, but don't just forget about the KKK. What?
Yep, you should. No, okay. The party in the back you got rocking is just for serious.
Thank you.
I love it.
I didn't know what was going to happen Tuesday night. I did not anticipate this.
It's better than a skunk stripe, where they just buzz it right down the middle.
Is it?
Well, I think so.
Oh. You know what I said? And once again, I feel like I need to do this when we're talking about it. We love the singing Barber. This is not Noah's fault. I don't believe I communicated exactly what I was looking for. The hair that he cut, he did a fine job cutting. But the amount of times over the last 3 days that I've heard, it doesn't look that bad, it's up there. That's what I get. It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
But that's what they lead with. It's not like I say, oh, this is awful. Like they look at me and go, oh, it doesn't look that bad. Like nobody has solicited a piece of anyway. I'm going to tell you what I think is pretty bad. And that's your stupid article. And I want to talk about it. After the news and after Ninkpoops.
You have to tell me which one. There's plenty.
They're all stupid. Okay. 32 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes and new details on the death of Jean Hackman and his wife in New Mexico. Here's Brian Clark.
Authorities in Santa Fe County say Betsy Hackman died up to a week before her husband.
The cause of death for Miss Betsy Hackman, aged 65 years, is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome.
It's a rare respiratory condition transmitted by infectant rodent droppings, says Chief Medical Investigator Dr. Heather Jarrell. She says Jean Hackman, 95, died of hyperintensive cardiovascular disease with Alzheimer's, a significant contributing factor.
Death by firing squad in South Carolina, the first in this country since 2001. Condemned killer Brad Sigmund chose it over lethal injection. Sentence rendered today. Sigmund convicted in the 2002 murder of his girlfriend's parents, David and Gladys Lark, and kidnapping his girlfriend. Sigmund admitted he broke into the home, beat the couple to death with a bat, kidnapped their daughter with the intention of killing her and then himself, but she escaped. Sigmund was arrested 11 days later in Gatlinburg. President Trump hosting a crypto summit at the White House today, pushing the creation of a Bitcoin reserve, most of its assets having been collected by forfeiture to law enforcement actions.
The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know.
And downtown Nashville today, Channel 4 says about 20 people rallied against Doge outside the federal building, expressing fear that Social Security and Medicare will get cut.
It's very disconcerting. It creates a lot of stress and unease and physical discomfort, not only in our minds, but our bodies.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still got that crash reported by police blocking the right shoulder 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane. Other than that, you just got the usual brake tapping going on this time of day. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Do you have bugs in your home? Do you know? I mentioned that spider thing, and it freaks people. That's true. Less than 3 feet away from spider. They're probably very small. I don't know. Maybe big if you don't have U.S. Pest in your life. U.S. Pest wants to come eliminate those spiders and the rest of the things that come along with them, like stink bugs and ants and ladybugs. I know. Everybody's like, oh, it's a ladybug. It's still a bug. Roaches and so much more. They have a 100% money-back guarantee at U.S. Pest. Call J.K. and Erica Brister or one of their fine team members, and they're going to help eliminate those bugs. If you're using an inferior pest control company, and may I be frank with you, if you're not using U.S. Pest, you're using an inferior pest control company. Transfer over to U.S. Pest, and their first service call is free to you. That's about a $200 value. Termite protection, they handle that as well. Crawl space protection, they'll get it done with U.S. Pest. They're growing by leaps and bounds. Why? Because they're the best pest control company in Middle Tennessee, and there's really nobody a close second. 590-1260. 590-1260, or go to uspest.com for more on U.S. Pest. And tell them Matt Murphy sent you to U.S. Pest.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products? With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Cameron Smith and Matt Murphy have found common ground hating what's about to happen in Williamson County. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're trying to go caucus over there.
Yeah.
Goofy.
Well, when you play loser ball, that's what happens. Is you try to get your political power back, but the only way you can get it back is by excluding people.
And that's what they're trying to do, this Elevate group. That's what they're trying to do. Although they look, I know that there's some challenges going on. For those who don't know what we're talking about, by the way, it's Matt Murphy. It's Cameron Smith. We'll get to Ninkpoops in a second. There's Chris Weber. He's no nincompoop. There's Ken Weaver. He's no nincompoop. I can't speak for Cameron. I'm no nincompoop.
Fair.
So in Williamson County, they had a structural vote on the Republican Party leadership the other night. And the group that won, a group called Elevate, I don't know, Elevate 2025 or whatever
that's
it. That group they won't say the word, but they have been openly advocating to change the way you vote in Williamson County from a primary system to a caucus system. The reason that they're advocating for this is that they are claiming that Democrats are infiltrating the open primary system, which is a load of garbage in my estimation. But what they want to turn to is instead of arguing for closed primaries in the state of Tennessee, which is a perfectly legitimate argument to make.
What's the motivation? Say that one more time.
That they're trying to prevent Democrats from...
No. What was the genesis of all this stuff? It was Jack Johnson beating he who shall not be named.
Yeah, yes. So, the backstory is that Gary Humble's controlling all of this. He's controlling all of these little minions. It's a little bit creepy. It's like a cult. And Humble wants a caucus system because it gives him a better opportunity to beat Johnson. That's my take on all of it.
Well, let's be honest. On local party politics, nobody pays attention. Not really. We got lives to live, better things to do.
Yeah, that's right.
And so what happens is folks play small ball elections that nobody's paying attention to, and then they go win the party thing. Mm-hmm. And then they change the rules because instead of having the people elect who they want to say, here's who you must elect. We're going to find a very tight, closed group of the purest, the people who are anointed.
Right.
Who there's another word for that, the elites.
Mm-hmm.
Who
they've become the elites.
The elites who can decide who true conservatives are, as opposed to the people of Williamson County. And I can't stand that kind of garbage. Like that is, let the people vote, let them decide. You know, if Democrats are going to come into your primary, then you should run people that can beat them.
Well, and if it's such a problem, which I don't believe it is in Williamson County, I think they're making this up to make their argument. But and by the way, I don't like people throwing rocks and hiding their hand. And that's exactly what was going on. They were telling the people with a wink and a nod, hey, it's caucus. But when they would come on our radio station, like Dan Mandis had one of these folks on, they wouldn't say the word. They refused to say the word. Oh, well, we're open to anything that will solve the problem, this huge problem of Democrats voting in our system. Like, is it that big of a problem?
No,
what Democrats are representing Williamson County right now? Because I don't think any of them.
Here's the deal. And this is what drives me nuts. This is the true. You cannot have true conservative without true con. Because what happens is people say, I alone am the conservative.
Gary Humble.
And therefore, I know special things. Anybody who is a Republican, but not one I like, is not a conservative and is therefore a Democrat. And therefore, only people who like me are conservatives and good Republicans. Anybody who likes the other people cannot be in the party. And that mindset is loser ball.
Yep.
I'm afraid to compete.
It's purity politics.
When I competed, I lost. Now we got to shrink the pie so that I can maybe have a chance to win.
Well, just wait for it, because the leadership in Williamson County, guys, is about to attempt to change your system of voting from a primary system to a caucus system, meaning that if you're in the United States military, if you have a mother or a father that is infirm enough that they can't get out and spend hours at a caucus, they will not get to vote in the system. If you have somebody that's out of town for whatever reason, if you're out of town on business, you're not going to get to vote in the system. That's what they're about to start
Or a family
doing.
Or a sick kid. I mean, who
plenty
cares?
of reason. Plenty of reason.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's 43 after the hour. It is time for Ninkpoops in the news. That's what the man said. You know, my Ninkpoop story is so insane, I hesitate to even talk about it.
Wow.
Well, I think you ought to go first then.
Well, okay. I mean, I will, Ken Weaver. I'm not afraid.
That's a heck of a tease right there.
I'm going to have a difficult time sanitizing this, particularly for two reasons. One, I understand that there might be, youngsters in the car, and I don't want to say certain words that might create an atmosphere by which those youngsters repeat certain words. One of them has to do with a part of the male anatomy, which is what we're going to say. And the other thing is, I know you guys are going out to eat. You got some dinner plans happening, and I don't want to turn you off your dinner, turn your stomach. But both of those things are about to happen.
Oh, well.
I'm sad to note.
Wow. All right. Go for it.
A 76-year-old patient went to the hospital in Nepal complaining of discharge.
Okay.
From a place
Goodness.
that any man would least want it coming from. Y'all with me so far?
Yeah.
Wish I wasn't.
Yeah.
2 years earlier, he had been diagnosed with an enlarged prostate, a common condition. The prostate, small gland in the pelvis between the bladder and the penis. When the prostate became enlarged, it could press against the bladder, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
When the medics examined him, they found... I can't do this story. I thought I could. I can't. I thought they found...
Is it that bad?
Maggots.
Oh, no.
It's that bad. That's bad.
It's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Burrowing.
Oh, good Lord.
Why would you do that to us?
It's the Ninkpoop. He's a Ninkpoop.
Just do what I do. Just Google Florida man and it comes up. That's all you have to do.
Writing in a journal, doctors at the university teaching hospital do not specify how exactly all of this came together, but they note that the fly, that there perhaps were flies that were attracted to the odor.
Oh.
Which is what led to the...
Okay.
Okay, I would like to sincerely apologize for the last 3 minutes of the radio show. I thought that I could sanitize this in a way that made it palatable
My
for
eyes
anyone,
are watering.
But
We're supposed to eat cookies next? I mean, come on.
Oreos.
Oh.
Oreo cookies. Delicious.
Gross.
Hey, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Top that, buddy.
All right, you boys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, here we go. 47-year-old Stephen Donovan was booked into the Orange County, Florida jail on a felony charge of impersonating a police officer. Deputies with the Orange County Sheriff's Office responded to the Sable Palm at Lake Buena Vista apartment complex. A man working there called deputies after Donovan, riding a bicycle, approached him and said he's working with the police looking for Mexicans who are not supposed to be living in this country. In response, the worker went to the complex's front office to call law enforcement because Donovan apparently opened his jacket to reveal a gun.
Oh.
Donovan then went to the office, too, knocking on doors and windows while shouting that he was the police. When deputies arrived, Donovan presented them with a blue card from the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, claiming it proved he was an officer. However, deputies said the card indicated Donovan had only applied for a Class D security license. Donovan again repeated to the deputies he was making sure Mexicans were not illegally residing at the complex. Well, as deputies...
awesome.
Deputies searched him. They found a gun in his jacket pocket and then a small pocket knife. They told him that he couldn't be arrested because he was a law enforcement officer. Well, that wasn't going to fly with the sheriff, who says this guy is definitely a nincompoop.
But he could end up in a lot more trouble, or someone could end up killing him out here acting the way that he was acting. So at the end of the day, there's very few people that act like that. But be sure of one thing, we protect everybody in this country, whether you're legal or not.
Donovan's bond is set at $1,000.
Oh, just $1,000.
Yeah, he's probably already
That's
out.
not bad at all.
He's probably back on that bike yelling at people. Are you legal?
I wonder if he's got a little blue light on the bicycle.
Oh, wow.
That'd be good.
He's got a hat and a whistle.
Hey, any amigos? Anyway.
I got a good one.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's hear it, Brother
Okay.
Cameron.
So, as is tradition, I just Google Florida man and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Justin Blackston, 34, is accused of making a threat to discharge a destructive device, filing a false report of a bomb, and making false 911 calls, according to booking records from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Oh, wow. On February 26, deputies arrived at a home after Blackston dialed 911 multiple times, according to NBC News Miami. During one call, he allegedly asked for a ride to the airport so he could travel to the White House to assassinate Trump.
Wow. No.
This is a call to 911.
Right, I'm saying, no, that's not.
Blackston also said he had hacked into a missile system and would launch them to destroy New York City, noting missiles were attracted to Trump Tower in New York.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yes, he has a history of mental health issues and is issued threats and complaints. But he finally said they conducted a wellness check, but they were unable to locate him. They later contacted him by phone, where he allegedly stated that they should send Trump to his house or he was going to kill his sons.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
Good gracious.
So they thankfully arrested him and booked him into Palm Beach County Jail, where the judge set his bond at $35,000.
Yeah, we got to get him over to a little mental health facility.
He's going to need a little help.
A little evaluation. Wow. Mr. Weber.
All right, mine comes from Bogota, Colombia. Colombian police arrested a 40-year-old man after at the Cartagena airport as he attempted to board a flight to Amsterdam because they suspected he might be smuggling something. A scanner revealed the hidden cargo, and it was 220 grams of cocaine packed in small bags, strategically placed under what authorities described as a narco wig. Yep, he had a toupee on, and he had 220 grams of cocaine tightly packed underneath said toupee.
220 grams?
220 grams. Police estimate the street value of the drugs at approximately 10,000 euros in the European markets. And there was a video they released, and it was interesting. It showed the cops cutting the wig off this guy's head. He was bald underneath, by the way. I don't know if that matters.
Yeah.
And the cocaine was packed in what looked like detergent pods, little round, kind of puck-shaped things. And there was, probably 30 or 40 of them packed in this wig.
It's almost 8 ounces on his head.
Imagine how big his forehead looked.
Yeah, exactly.
Or how high his head was.
Yeah.
High. How high he was. How high his head was. I see what he did there.
I like the extreme measures that people go to hide drugs. They have dogs that can smell the drugs, so you might as well just put them in your gym bag.
Speaking of smelling things, did I tell you the story about the guy in Nepal with the maggots?
That's
how we do Ninkpoops in the news, everybody. Oh, look, somebody's already declaring Chris the winner.
Well, there you go.
Alan writes in and says, this just in, people everywhere have gone insane. Well, that's what we teach you on Ninkpoops in the news on a regular basis. Speaking of insanity, Cameron Smith will defend his article from earlier in the week. We'll talk about it next. We'll also get to your telephone call, 615-737-9986. And before we leave, we're eating Oreos. It's Super Talk 99.7. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Here's a couple of questions regarding your health insurance. Do you pay too much? Do you know if you pay too much? Are you getting value for your health insurance? It's a big question, and sadly, most people don't know the answer to it. Now, if you do know and you feel like, hey, I'm comfortable, I think I've got a great deal on my health insurance, congratulations. But if you're not sure, you need to call Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Secondarily, if you aren't comfortable with your insurance coverage, if you're frustrated, as a matter of fact, go to Shane's Brentwood office. Sit down with Shane and talk with him. You'll find out firsthand, because he has the ability to shop nationwide all of the available health plan options in the market to help you shop for the coverage that is based on your needs and your health and your finances, not based on somebody else's, what they tell you have to have. It's all about control of your money and your health insurance coverage, managed by you, not managed by the government. That's what it's all about for Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Go to covernash.com. That's covernash.com. And don't be fooled that you can't make decisions and switches when it's not, quote, open enrollment. Shane will dispel you of those rumors and that nonsense. Covernash.com or 615-465-0023. 465-0023 for Cover Nash. You know, I have liberals asking me all the time, how in the world, you know that commercial, how do you sleep at night? Well, I sleep very well at night. I don't sleep well because of a mattress. I sleep well because of Dr. Paz, Dr. Brian McLaughlin, and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. Let's talk about this. So if you wake up in the night, if you wake up in fits and starts, if you snore a lot, or if you're not feeling energetic or rested in the morning, the odds are you have sleep apnea. And Dr. Paz and Dr. Brian McLaughlin want to help you out with this because they have an FDA-approved oral device that can help individuals with mild to moderate sleep apnea. I could never have worn a CPAP machine. I know this. With the hose and the mask and all of that. And I understand if you have very severe sleep apnea, that is a necessity. However, for those of you who have mild to moderate sleep apnea, it holds your jaw forward, this FDA-approved device. You breathe easier, you breathe better, you snore less. You don't have to worry about hoses and a mask. It works, friends, because I have a device. I have one now. Thank you to Dr. Stephen Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin. Brentwood and Murfreesboro, 2 locations to serve you. They're in-network in most insurance cases in the state of Tennessee. Give them a call today. You start your journey at drposs.com. That's drposs.com.
Authorities in New Mexico have released the causes of death for the Hackmans and a new scam on Facebook. We'll tell you about that coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Uh-huh. I feel like Ken's just trolling me now, too. He's trolling me on the Facebook front.
Well, I was getting ready to say, Brother Murphy, you don't have to worry about this.
No. I don't. I don't know why it makes me feel better, because I'm certain that they're going nowhere. But my status on Facebook now is just, they're now sending me 5 to 8 emails a day saying, hey, you got back into your account. Do you have the latest on this?
Yeah.
You've gotten back into your account. It's all good. It's all cool. Come on back in whenever you're ready. And I have a standard response that I just, and it says it says no reply. And I reply. It goes somewhere because it doesn't bounce back. And it gives me great pleasure to reply to every single one of them with the same message. You want to know what the message is?
I do, actually.
Hold on, I get confused. I've got so many computers. I'll have to open up. Here we go. So the message is as follows. Dear Facebook. Mm-hmm. I could have said Dear Mark or Dear Zuck, but I went Facebook. Dear Facebook, I was cyber attacked, and in the course of the attack, the hacker placed a 2-factor authentication on my account. I do not have the authentication code to unlock the account. Until you remove 2-factor authentication, I cannot get back into my account. Thank you very much, Matt Murphy. You know where that's getting me?
Nowhere.
Of course not. But, it makes me feel good. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of them, like 100 of them.
You can reinvent yourself online now.
Oh, yeah, I could become like anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I could become like Stupid McStupidface.
Probably. Just Mick.
Nah, that one's already taken, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is.
Actually, just McLovin.
That'd be good, too.
How about Billy Ray Murphy?
Joe Dirt.
Don't tell my mullet, my achy, breaky mullet. Have you heard Dolly's new song?
Hey.
Oh, so good. So sad.
I don't.
What? Where are you going? What?
Dolly?
Yeah, Dolly Parton.
She lost her husband.
I know. She did a song about him.
Really?
Yeah, we played it earlier. It's pretty good. We might do it again at the end of the show. That's how good it is.
I want to hear it. That's cool.
That's how good it is. All right, one more hour to go. I'll yell at Cameron. We'll eat Oreos. It'll be fun. Y'all stick around. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now, authorities in New Mexico releasing the causes of death for the Hackmans. We get more from ABC's Brian Clark.
Betsy Hackman died of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare respiratory illness caused by contaminated rodent droppings. Santa Fe County Sheriff Adon Mendoza shared more information on when she might have died.
There was no additional outgoing communication from her or known activity after February 11th.
And he says Jean Hackman may have been alive for up to a week in the home before he died of heart disease and complications from Alzheimer's.
Right now in South Carolina, Brad Sigmund is the first condemned killer in this country to be executed by firing squad in 15 years. He chose that method. It recently cleared the South Carolina Supreme Court. Police say Sigmund broke into his girlfriend's place and beat them to death with a bat back in 2001. He kidnapped his girlfriend, planned to kill her and then himself, but she escaped. He was captured 11 days later in Gatlinburg. The Trump administration going after colleges and universities for harassment of Jewish students. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
The Trump administration says this $400 million round of grant and contract cancellations is just the start, and that there's more to come. Education Secretary Linda McMahon says Columbia University has, quote, abandoned its obligation to protect Jewish students from violence, intimidation, and anti-Semitic harassment on campus. The school says it's aiming to work with the government to restore the funding and that Columbia is committed to combating anti-Semitism and ensuring the safety and well-being of students, faculty, and staff.
President Trump opened the first of its kind digital assets or crypto summit at the White House this afternoon, pushing the creation of a Bitcoin reserve. He says most of its assets would be from forfeitures and law enforcement actions.
The Treasury and Commerce Departments will also explore new pathways to accumulate additional Bitcoin holdings for the reserve, provided it's done at no cost to the taxpayers.
And the man with the power to raise or lower interest rates says he's holding steady right now.
Despite elevated levels of uncertainty, the U.S. economy continues to be in a good place. The labor market is solid, and inflation has moved closer to our 2% longer-run goal.
That's Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell today in Chicago. And a new scam is slithering through cyberspace, looking for well-intentioned victims trying to help out a friend. Jim Ryan tells us how it works.
The posting from your Facebook friend starts out, "My father is going into assisted living and no longer needs these items." It then has images of furniture, appliances, even cars for sale at a discount. Before you buy any of it, run the pictures through a Google image search. Chances are the images, the items, and the entire posting are fake.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Over on the South Loop, got a stalled vehicle. It's on the right shoulder, 65 northbound at the I-40 South exit. And in Spring Hill, police reporting a crash 65 southbound after 8:40. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I have upset David McCormick something big time fierce. He has written me a sternly worded email. I'm going to share it with you in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I would note, by the way, in the final hour of the show, we're going to have a good time this final hour. I made a mention that someone sent me information that Congressman Mark Green was worth somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 million. I'm not saying that he hasn't earned that money. I have no idea how he made that money. I know that he was listed as one of the best investors in the Congress several years ago, and he was outperforming the market by like 200% or something like that. It's my understanding that he owned a business and he sold that business. So no one's casting aspersions at Congressman Mark Green. I like Congressman Mark Green a lot, and I wish him the best. And I hope that he continues to represent his district to the best of his ability. I wish that he would come on our radio show. I've never had bad words with him, except when I asked him about something that his fellow congressman was doing, Mike Turner, regarding intelligence information. And he got mad at me for asking the question. But other than that, we've had a good relationship. David writes in and says, listening to the Matt Murphy Show today, it appeared you, quote, alerted listeners that Congressman Mark Green, MD, was reportedly worth $30 or $40 million. There seemed a subtle inference in your presentation that Congressman Green had gotten rich while in Congress. Was that your intended suggestion? He writes in all caps with 14 question marks. If that is the case, one might like to do a little. By the way, that was not my suggestion. No, that was a statement. I do know that he outperformed the market by a considerable amount, better than any other. I think there was one person in Congress that outperformed him, and it wasn't Nancy Pelosi. It was somebody else. If that is the case, one might do a little show prep. I believe Dr. Green was a medical entrepreneur, became a multimillionaire long before he ran for Congress, long before Trump was talking about Green as a possible Secretary of Army in the first Trump term. Yes, Green is my congressman. It appears that some, not all, Tennessee conservatives seem reluctant to be on the Murphy Show. Can you think of a reason for that?
Yeah, you ask questions.
Yeah, I don't treat them with kid gloves just because they're conservatives, and sometimes conservatives get their panties in a wad about that. Ask Andy Ogles.
Yeah, conservatives don't like for other conservatives to ask them questions. And if that's the case, then you shouldn't run for office.
I agree.
Yeah, because, and this is true, the politicians I like the most, that align with me the most, are the most likely to be a problem for me because I'm blind to it. I mean, I'm looking over at Nancy Pelosi and these other guys and Joe Biden.
That's easy.
That's easy. The person that you vote for is the one you should pay attention to. And I'm watching all the time because they're the ones that get away with everything. And they tell you, hey, don't look at me, look at them.
No, I lament the fact that Congressman Green, for what his own reasons, will not come on the show. And I asked repeatedly of his main person in D.C., and then she went on maternity leave, and I asked repeatedly of the secondary person, and I can only ask so much. I have no idea why he chooses not. I don't think it's us. I think it's pretty universal. I have given up asking because you can only ask so much. I try to present to you all of the people that impact your lives in the form of your elected representatives in Washington, D.C., but the two that I've given up on are Congressman Green and Andy Ogles.
That's
just in the interest of disclosure.
Over the years, one of the ones that I've actually come to really respect on this front is Marsha Blackburn. Like, she will come on and she will talk. She won't breathe, but she will. She will talk, and she's not afraid.
She is wound up when she gets on, and Senator Blackburn, I like her a lot, and I have great respect for her, and. For the most part, I agree with her policy position. Sometimes we disagree, but even if we do, that's cool too. But yes, Marsha is a type of politician, and this is not a knock, it's just an observation, that she will answer a question for as long as you let her.
Yeah. Well, and look, I'll tell you what, Senator Bill Hagerty, he sat in front of the Tennessean editorial board, and when a conservative sits in front of an editorial board of a legacy news outlet and tells them, hey, you guys better cover what's happening with this flooding in East Tennessee. I mean, that got my attention. I was impressed because typically if a conservative runs from the liberals, they're a baby. And they don't need to be in office.
So I was inferring nothing with my observation. It was just someone had told me that was his stated wealth. And Mark Green is he served in the United States military with honor and distinction. Sure. Thank you for that. He is a medical doctor. Thank you for that. And he serves in Congress. And I appreciate his service in that regard, too. I wish he was more directly communicative with his district.
But But hey, look on the bright side. At least it looks like he's filling out his campaign finance forms truthfully.
I guess we got that going for us. Hey, Ken Weaver.
Yes, sir.
So, Ken, you might not know this, but just outside of your news closet B,
yes, sir,
as we speak, there is a napkin.
And you need it.
And inside of that napkin something that you need.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I would encourage you to go right outside your door and look for a napkin on the counter.
I'm going to do it right now.
I would do that. I would do that right now. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give this a go. Y'all ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So
they smell good. I've been
God, they
smelling
smell
them.
good. Oh my goodness.
So these are we've been talking about these. So I yesterday was National Oreo Day, and we had these at the house, and so.
How many calories you say are in these each?
6,000.
No, none. It said I misread it, Ken. It said the first 3 Oreos have 0 calories.
Oh, okay, good. Because I'm watching my figure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is organic. Pretty sure.
So these are post-millennial. See, here's the thing about Oreos. Oreos are just fine, and Chris said the other day that Oreos just they're just a cookie, not necessarily his favorite, whatever. And some people go crazy over them, but they're fine. The double stuff should be the standard Oreo.
It should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There should be no smaller stuff than the double stuff. The double stuff should be stuff.
They half the regular, and that's like health food.
There's Weber is posting the post on the post. So we got the Post Malone. They have too many versions of these now, is my point.
There's like 100.
Oreos, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's got birthday cake Oreos and blonde Oreos.
Ooh, I like those birthday cake Oreos.
Yeah, see there. Yeah, Ken's part of the
But
problem.
they just don't even care anymore. It'll be like strawberry ninja Oreos.
Yeah.
Right, but but I think what Oreos are doing now, Oreos know that they demand, so if the Oreo cookie people put out the store shelves, they have to accommodate them. And so they're doing what beer people do. The beer companies do this too, where they want more shelf space in the cooler, and so they just come out with a new product. Like I've been told on good authority that Bud Platinum was nothing other than an attempt to get another piece of shelf space to butt some other small people out, which I don't like, but whatever. I feel like Oreo's doing that too. I mean, come on, Oreo.
Yeah, I don't.
Now that we've talked bad about them, let's have some of their delicious cookies.
Well, also, they know that people love Oreos, so that if they come out with a new flavor, people are going to buy that flavor.
Yeah, so on one side, we got like a record album. You were doing this earlier. I'll do it.
It says Post on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the other's just a standard
The cookies
Oreo
aren't the
logo.
same. They say one says Post, one's a record.
Yeah, they're not the same. They're different.
And there's 2 different flavor cookies as well, right? Isn't that what it said?
Yes. So we got Postie's swirled salted caramel and shortbread flavor cream.
Do they say anything satanic if you eat them backward?
Johnny's the devil.
Yes, Ken, they do.
So we're gonna do my favorite thing in radio, eating on the radio. I absolutely hate it when people eat on the radio, and I'm sorry in advance.
Am I the only one that doesn't pull them apart?
No, I didn't. I just bit it.
I normally don't, but I did this one because I wanted to see what the 2 different cookies tasted like.
I ate it all.
And I don't even take a bite. I just put the whole cookie in my mouth.
Yes, sir.
I just go for the whole thing.
It's
pretty
good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they taste the same. I can't.
Cookies do?
The cookies taste the same.
Okay.
Like the blonde and they taste exactly the same to me.
The chemicals are good.
Chemicals?
They're really, the way they've made this, the combination of sugar and fats come together, it's glorious.
If my mouth weren't full, I'd be all over you about this. Stand by.
I like sugared fat. It is my favorite, actually.
By the way, you've changed.
I make bacon jerky
You've changed, Smith. You've changed.
Yeah, I know.
I miss the old you. The old you that would sit here and eat
moon pies
by just a bucket full. We did a moon pie eating deal one time.
We did.
On the noon to 3 show.
Dude, next time I'll bring in some bacon jerky.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
I'm here for that. I can try. Like, that's the snack stuff I eat. Like, I'm struggling to get through one Oreo right now.
What?
No joke.
You've become such a sugar snob.
It's not
they are
a snob.
very sweet, though.
It's just when you don't eat
Very
sugar
sweet.
and then you have this.
By the way, I know why.
Why?
I'm looking at the ingredients.
Sugar is the first ingredient?
The sugar is the first ingredient of an Oreo.
What's the second one? Cocaine?
Fat.
Unbleached enriched flour.
I'm glad they didn't put bleach in it.
Yeah, because that would be gross.
Makes me feel better.
Let's see. Sugar, unbleached enriched flour. When they do the parentheses, that's telling you what the unbleached, right? So I don't need to read that.
But I hear
right.
bleach kills COVID from the inside, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what Jamie Raskin said.
Would be helpful.
Sugar, unbleached enriched flour. Gosh, man, you know what? They're making these letters much smaller than they used to.
Pretty sure that's a niner.
Uh-huh. Let's see. Riboflavin. We got some riboflavin.
Ooh.
Palm oil. Soybean and or canola oil, cornstarch.
Oh, RFK would not like that.
I mean, look, they have sugar. Okay, let's go. Sugar, flour, riboflavin, palm oil, soybean and or canola oil, cornstarch, high fructose corn syrup. Where the hell is the binder? Is that just the flour? Salt, baking soda. Soy lectin. Well, no, it's really the soy lectin that makes it good. Artificial flavor, yellow cake. Yellow 5.
Oh, that's what gives the cookie the color, I guess.
Red 40, blue 1. Chocolate confectioner's glaze.
Didn't they ban that red 40?
I don't know.
No, they banned 5.
Yeah, red 5.
It's going to give us seizures now.
And Post Malone says, can't believe they let me. See, he writes this in his own handwriting, so I can't read this crap. I can't believe they let me make my own Oreo cookie. So happy everyone gets to try the taste. Twist. I gave you. I hope you love it as much as I do. Signed, Posty.
I want the.
I feel dirty.
I want the RFK Oreos. Those are what I want. Give me those. They're like
that's a rice cake.
You know. This is made from flour ground with stones. The bag of Oreos is $375.
You know what? I'm sure that the RFK Oreo will have in it beef tallow, and the man loves some beef tallow.
We're going to put some stevia in some beef tallow, and can you imagine how good that's going to taste?
My boy, and now look, I've tasted beef. Have you had beef tallow?
I have.
I have tasted beef tallow. I've had beef tallow in it's good.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds delicious.
It's beef fat.
Yeah.
Well, it is delicious.
I mean, they call it tallow to make you feel better about it, but you're eating beef fat.
A bacon Oreo sounds like something I would eat.
A bacon Oreo sounds like something that already exists.
Which is great.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think if you put bacon in a peanut butter and jelly, it's really good too. Just saying.
So I would do peanut butter and jelly, hold the peanut butter, hold the jelly, add mayo, bacon.
That's
add lettuce and tomato.
Oh, sure.
But the RFK version has no color whatsoever.
Right.
And so there's no food coloring.
It's just an empty package. You open it up, and it's a little note that says, take a walk, fatty.
Yeah. And that would be great. But only every third package. So it's like, oh, this is good, and get your hopes up, and then you go in there, and it's like too much.
Is it wrong that it's difficult for me to listen to RFK because of his voice? Is that wrong?
Well, it's hard to understand.
It hurts. I'm not trying to cast aspersions. I know that it's whatever it is. I mean, he's talked about it. He's described what's going on, and he claims that it's fine. He doesn't feel, but I can't.
It's just going to be interesting because he's going to tell us that everything kills us, and he's probably right. And
except beef tallow. Beef tallow will solve. Beef tallow is good for everything.
Eat it, fry with it, use it as lotion.
You can put it on your skin.
All kinds of things.
That's what I'm told. Mm-hmm. They have it in different flavors. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like orange flavored beef tallow.
Which
they do.
Really?
I mean, you can look it up.
But with the seed oils and the dyes, it used to be essential oils is how I knew that you were kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Now I just start talking about seed oils, and if you run with it, then I'm like, okay, this is I can get you on essential oils. I can probably get you on trans fats.
Well, I don't think I even know what seed oils are.
Like soybean oil and
Canola? Is that a
canola
seed?
oil, sunflower oil, anything from that oil that's derived from a seed.
A seed.
Yeah.
Your
Okay,
listeners, just look on the chat line. I'm not looking at the chat or the text line, but I tell you, your listeners out there, like, it was supposed to be an industrial lubricant, but it's now in all of our foods. It's coming. That's what they're going to tell you, and they're probably right. But it's coming.
First, I can't read it though. It's from our friend Jason.
Oh, thanks, Jason.
He said Cameron's a walking bleep, and I can't say what the bleep is.
Jason.
That's the first thing. I know. What? Come on, people. It's Friday.
Jason that's hurtful for a Friday evening.
Sally says home oil. Does that mean the guy that put the cookies together had sweaty hands? Probably.
Palm oil is what she's talking about.
She's talking about palm oil.
Yeah.
Beef tallow is the beef version of lard. And who doesn't like lard? Well, that's true.
If you sugar that and put it between crackers, that sounds like an Oreo.
I mean, just beef tallow is pretty good. 23 after the hour, Super Talk. We'll actually talk about things that matter, although not that this doesn't, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Stand by. Hello, friends. It is Matt Murphy. You know, Eurofix has a very different business philosophy. They staff all of their locations with more individuals than the average auto repair shop. Why? Because they want to be ready for you. That's why. They don't want you to have to wait and work out a time to deliver your car when an emergency pops up. If you've ever noticed how hard it can be to get a right now appointment at a vehicle repair shop, then you understand why Eurofix does things the way they do. Some dealers can be 2 weeks out to get an appointment. Not at Eurofix. They've been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer pricing without dealer pricing since 1999. Plus, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and the staff to fix your car now. If you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes said, "You'll never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take their pain away, not add to it." And that is true. Eurofix, family owned for 26 years. Call 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com.
Here, witnesses describe the first firing squad execution in the U.S. in almost 20 years. This story and the day's closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 6:27 right now. I've just spent the commercial break. I hope you enjoyed the commercial advertisements. I spent the commercial break with Cameron telling me everything he's not eating right now.
Yes, I went to the bathroom and drank hand sanitizer to get the taste out of my mouth.
It's a lot. I had 3, and it's a lot.
Yeah, I had 3 as well, and I regret eating the second 2. Yeah.
I actually liked mine, and I'll take them home if you don't want them.
I put them in the break room. If it
makes you feel better, I ate one, and I'm like, ew.
You become kind of a sugar snob.
Yeah, but see, that happens after you get off sugar. Doesn't it? I mean, it does.
No, it actually hurts.
Yes.
Like, I went to an ice cream place, and they had, like, cookie dough, something special, and I got a little one because I was like, man, I just kind of want a little something, and I about died. Because if you're not used to it, now the good news is, like, if I eat, like, a strawberry or a grape, it tastes like candy.
Yeah.
The bad news is if I eat something that's, like, extra sugar, it's abusive.
Yeah.
It's a lot. If I drank a Coke right now, I would like fall over.
Yeah.
Because it's basically sugar with just enough brown stuff in it or whatever to.
Danny is in Selmer. Danny, first off, maybe I should know this. Where is Selmer?
Hey, it's in the state of Tennessee, sir.
Oh, thanks, Danny.
That help you out?
Whereabouts?
Oh, you know where Jackson is?
I do.
Jackson, Tennessee.
I do.
Yeah, it's probably about, like, depending on track, about a half hour, 45 minutes south of there.
Oh, man, heck, you're way over there, buddy.
I'm not in Selmer. I'm actually out in the country. You know, I live rural because I think that really I tell myself that I like living rural, but actually people that live in towns and cities run me out of there. They don't like my kind, so I just kind of live rural and do my own thing now.
That's good. How do you feel about beef tallow?
Hey, it's multi-purpose. It's multi-purpose stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. You eat but you know what happens if you eat too much beef tallow?
Well, we got to be clear of this for the radio, so I really don't want to get into that. But
okay.
We raise cattle around here and stuff, you know. So I mean, hey, I have some experience.
Milk straight from the teat.
Yeah. But hey, I originally called just try to get back on track here. I originally called to make a haircut comment.
By the way, thank you, Danny, for getting us back on track because we need it.
We do.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm trying because I'm gonna lose track, man. I've had too many hits to the head, you know, too many concussions in life, so I'll lose track and I'll be the babbling idiot on here. So I thought I wanted to call in with some tech support for you because if you wouldn't mind, I could give you some advice on tech support that you're having issues with.
Hey, Danny, I would love and cherish advice on tech support, but I do need to beg of you a favor.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to have to rush you. And sure. Ken Weaver might be a small package, but he's a fiery man, and it's time for the news. And if I don't get to the news, he's going to whoop on me. So can you hold on? Can you hold? Yeah, just hold for just a second. Just hold on for just a second. We're going to get Ken. He'll deliver the news, and then we'll get back to Danny, and then we'll get Cameron. I've got to get to yelling with Cameron for a minute. I mean, I'm way late on the yelling.
You are.
It's 31 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. South Carolina condemned killer Brad Sigmund, the first U.S. prisoner to be executed by firing squad in almost 20 years. Journalist Anna Dobbins was an official witness.
I did see a splash of blood when the bullets entered his body. It was not a huge amount, but there was a splash that you could see.
67-year-old Sigmund sentenced to death for the 2001 murder of his ex-girlfriend's parents with a baseball bat. He was shot by 3 volunteer prison employees and pronounced dead at 5:08 p.m. Middle Tennessee time. New Mexico authorities say Jean Hackman died from heart disease and Alzheimer's. His wife Betsy died 7 days prior of hantavirus, a rare disease linked to rodents. Money news, here's Michelle Franzen.
Stocks ended the week with a roller coaster ride. Major market indexes rallied after a morning dive. The Dow was up 260 points at the closing bell. The S&P 500 rose 36 points and the Nasdaq gained 138. Stocks rebounded after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said the Fed is likely to keep its key interest rate unchanged as it waits to see how the economy responds to President Trump's policies. U.S. employers added 151,000 jobs in February. The Labor Department reports the unemployment rate rose slightly to 4.1%. The Department of Homeland Security is ending the collective bargaining agreement with thousands of Transportation Security Administration employees. In a statement, the department said the union protects poorly performing employees charged with transportation security. The TSA union has vowed to fight the cancellation.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a vehicle fire blocking the right two lanes of 65 northbound before Harding Place. Then in Williamson County, a crash reported by police 65 southbound right after 8:40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, if you're thinking about building on your property, if you have property and you want to advance the value of said property, or you need something for the family, maybe it's the parents or the in-laws that are eventually going to need some place to stay. Maybe it's just a she shed or a he space. They call them man caves or whatever. Or perhaps you're looking for an equestrian space. You've got horses on property. Whatever it might be, have you looked at Stoltzco? My goodness gracious. These places that they're building with Stoltzco are incredible. So if you own land, if you're looking to do something with that property, if you want to put money into real assets by building on your land, let Stoltzco build a high-quality custom structure at a reasonable price for you. They're the leading company when it comes to first-class customer service and the creation of post-frame buildings, such as event spaces, like I mentioned, equestrian spaces, a garage for things on your property, a pole barn, or a barn dominium. Yes, a barn dominium where you can live in it. And these are much less expensive than traditional house builds. Friends, if you want to go to the country to get away from the city, it's time to get with Stoltzco. Find out more by going to stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com. Let me spell it for you. STOLTZCO.com. See some of these incredible buildings. To see them is to want one. 615-622-5992. 622-5992 for our friends at Stoltzco. It's a good question. 615-737-9986. If you want to jump in here, we'll get to Danny back on the line in just a moment. Your calls as well. Your communique vis-a-vis the super text line, 615-737-9986. You're right. Clint Eastwood and Willie Nelson, too. I mean, those are two that, boy, oh boy, they have lived long, fruitful lives. We were talking about Jean Hackman's death, and the fact that Jean Hackman was 95, I mean, that seems weird.
He's the coach from Hoosiers.
Right.
I mean,
he's Hoosiers coach. He's that age. He's perpetually 58.
Right.
Like, even when you go look at him as, Popeye Doyle in the French Connection, he's still 58.
Right.
When he was probably 32.
Right. Because somebody that has a prolific acting career around a set age is frozen in time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is. There's very few people that Harrison Ford would maybe be the exception that, he's acted his whole life. So
we've watched him age.
Yeah, you've seen an age, but
Gene Hackman stopped acting 20 years ago, which is also weird.
Yeah.
I mean, he decided to stop acting, wrote a couple of books. I mean, in his mid-70s somewhere, he said, I'm not going to act anymore. And he's just kind of lived his life. And we remember, because every time you see him, it's in a movie, and so he's still that age.
Right.
Until he's not. He's 95. But, yeah, I was just relating to Cameron some of the latest details as to what they believe happened. And if you're just joining us and you've not heard, it is believed, according to medical examiners and according to New Mexico law enforcement and officials, that his wife, Betsy, died first. She had hantavirus, which is apparently a rodent-borne disease that can be fatal that you get. I mean, it's prevalent, fairly prevalent in the New Mexico area. She had that. Perhaps was taking medication for it, who knows, but, because there were pills found around her. The dog had a medical procedure, and that's why the dog had been crated. So the dog was kind of wrong place, wrong time. She reportedly passed away somewhere around February 11th. Gene Hackman is 95. He's 30 years her senior. We don't know because he hadn't been seen out in months. I mean,
did the dog die?
Yeah, one of the three. The dog and the crate died.
Okay.
Out of sad, but starvation and
no water,
dehydration. Yeah. Right. And then Gene Hackman lived somewhere in the neighborhood of a week after she had passed away, either unaware that she had passed away. We don't know what level of Alzheimer's he had gotten to, and he died about a week later. So that's the upshot. And then we were talking about Clint Eastwood, what is Clint Eastwood? He's got to be 95.
300?
I mean, he's old.
Yeah.
He's up there. Or what about Mel Brooks is still alive, right?
Yep.
If you want to talk about actors that are, and performers that are out there and still alive, what's Clint?
Eastwood's 94. Mel Brooks is 98.
I mean, my goodness. There's hope for us in the 90s yet.
Mm.
I feel that. As long as we keep away from the Oreo cookies.
I'm going to be ported into a machine. That's what's going to happen.
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
See what happens. Danny, you've got tech advice for me. I hope it's for my Facebook problem.
I do, sir. And I just wanted to say that I believe you're approaching this correctly. I know sometimes you can have software issues, hardware issues, tech support issues and things. Just breathe like you're doing, deal with it. I know it's highly frustrating. Now, I haven't dealt with it this way in years as I began to learn. But I want to share, and this is true. I know you think I may have been a little bit wild. Maybe I had some PTSD issues from the military and stuff. I don't know, but I know as frustrated as it could be, and it really helped my frustration at the time, the way I dealt with it. And it was rather expensive, and that's part of why I changed my ways. But then I just learned how to learn the technology, deal with tech support, stuff like that. But it's been years now, so things are better. But I have shot 9 telephones, 3 laptops, a couple flat-screen TVs, a few Wi-Fi devices. I always check my backdrop, made sure nobody's going to get hurt. I got tired of the money. I got tired of the money on the ammunition, and I just started throwing them directly on the burn pile. And it made me feel better at the time, but I tell you what, it gets kind of expensive. So my software issues turned into hardware issues, and then I had to replace everything. So,
and then those turn into lack of ammo issues.
Well, no, I always made sure I kept enough of that back. That's why I just throw them directly on the burn pile. But, yeah, it gets kind of costly. I mean, you can do that as long as you're in an area that you're legal to shoot and stuff and check your backdrop stuff. You can do that. It makes you feel better. But I think you're handling it the right way, man. And I'm learning from you, and I've learned over the years that there's better ways. But, boy, it sure does make you feel better when you do that. But,
yeah, I could see that.
It's expensive, It is expensive, so I wouldn't recommend that. So I think you're going about it the right way.
Well, thank you, Danny. Thank you, and enjoy your time out there in Selmer, buddy. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right, man. We'll see you soon. Time to yell at Cameron. So, what do you got against Donald Trump and his time in the Oval Office? Wagging his finger at Volodymyr Zelensky. I read your article.
We're talking about the meeting that they had that didn't go great. It's just all high drama to me at this point, and Zelensky's part of it. Let's be clear about that. The ego game, just to me, the interest that we have that I can clearly identify is those rare earth minerals, which oddly are in the area right along where Russia is coming in.
Mm-hmm. Almost as if they know that.
I know, right? Crazy.
Kind of crazy weird.
The other major deposit, like the place that has the most of them, is China.
Right.
And we need these for technology and defense. Like, they matter. They're a big deal. Lithium, there's several other, like cobalt. I don't know all of them.
Can I squirrel you for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Are we sure that we don't have any of these rare earth minerals anywhere in the United States?
No, we do. We do.
But we're just not willing to go dig them here.
I don't think it's that we're not willing to dig them. I just think the deposits here aren't as large as they are, certainly not in China, but Ukraine's sitting on a big sort of motherlode of them. I connect that in the article. I actually connects to a map, and you can look at it, and you can actually see where the deposits are. And so my point is, put the deal on the table. If Zelensky doesn't want it, then that's on him. And if he says, well, you got to do this, this, and this, we don't. But my point is the idea of say thank you. Like, he said thank you a lot. Like, okay. Like,
well, but I think that came on the heels of 40 minutes of him interrupting and objecting when, you know what, that might even have a place too, but have the sense to know it doesn't have a place in front of the assembled media. If you're going to have objections, you have your hat in your hand here. You're asking for money. You're asking for security guarantees. You're asking for a lot of things. What America wants is a rare earth minerals deal that's going to benefit everybody too.
Win-win.
And I think, if there was frustration on the part of Vance and Trump, and I
get that. I mean, I do. I don't think that's weird. Where I thought it was a little weird is he initially criticized Obama. And I watched it a couple times, that exchange, and he was saying, look, when Putin did this once, when Obama was president, we kind of made a deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he did it again. So what assurances do we have that he's not going to keep doing it and just ignore you?
Well, isn't that what the rare earth minerals deal is?
I think it is.
Right. I mean, that's what and I feel like this is fair, even for Trump critics, that get us the rare earth minerals deal. Get us a financial interest to protect what we want out of your country.
Right.
And you will get somewhat of and if you need some additional security guarantees from what we're not going to give you is a promise that if Russia screws around with you again, we're going to send in our military, which is what I think Zelensky wants.
Yeah, Zelensky wants to look at the Budapest Memorandum and say, hey, look, you and Russia said if we disarmed, you would not invade us, you would protect us, everything would be fine, right? Well, look, we've said no. I mean, that's the position we've said is, well, you disarmed, sucks to be you, and,
our bad.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, and look, I don't like that. I don't think that that's good for America to do stuff like that, but it's a position you can take.
Well, but the situation around the world changes too, and I understand. I understand the logic of your words should mean something,
right? That's all I'm saying.
But also, countries change, leadership changes in those countries.
It does.
And so, if we're supposed to guarantee, that our word 50 years ago is going to be the same when, a country's leadership changes and the entire fabric of that country could change too. I mean, I'm not saying that's happened in this case, but you know what I mean? I mean,
Well,
I don't think it's as easy to say, well, we promised, so we have to keep up with it.
Yeah, so normally I would agree with you, except for the fact that they were the third largest holder of nuclear weapons in the world at the time that we did that.
Under the Soviet Union.
No. Once they were independent, they had control.
The reason that they had those
was because
of the
former
Soviet Union. They were part of the bloc of the Soviet Union.
Former Soviet, but they had the control.
But the argument was made at the time, right, that it was the Soviet Union that controlled those weapons and that it was not safe for the rest of the world, for Ukraine as an independent nation, as unstable as they were, to continue to have those nuclear weapons.
Sure, but that rather than having a nuclear war, that we said, hey, we got you. You're independent. You're good. We're gonna, and they gave their nuclear armaments to Russia,
right,
for dismantling, and
now Russia's screwing them,
right, and so I get why they're upset about that, and I would be too, and I do think we should honor those type of commitments where you put it this way: if they have nuclear weapons right now, Russia's really having a different conversation.
Well, right, I think an argument could be made that. I mean, I think Donald Trump makes a compelling argument that had he been president, that we probably would be having a different and not because Donald Trump's such a master negotiator, because Vladimir Putin, I think, legitimately doesn't know what Donald Trump's going to do moment to moment.
It's uncertain. And
I think he was pretty certain that Joe Biden would do what Joe Biden did, which was call Vladimir Putin evil and a dictator and send a lot of money to Ukraine.
Yeah, and my take on it is I'm fine with taking the policy position that we shouldn't do anything here. I don't agree with it, but I'm fine with that. I like the idea of the minerals deal, rare earth minerals deal, because I think it makes sense. It's a win-win for everybody. Ukraine's not going to get a security agreement out of the United States under this administration. That will not happen for at least the next 4 years. And my guess is they don't want this war going that long. Is it? Why do you think
Zelensky's dragging his feet then?
Look, if he thinks he can get the EU because of their interest in not having an emboldened Russia to come in and help him push Russia back, and you've got the UK saying, "Hey, we're going to put boots on the ground here."
Well, and I would say that it's a byproduct of, and I understand you've articulated your frustration with the way the meeting went, but I think the way the meeting went saw direct results in terms of Europe stepping up, going, well, and that's the way that they couch it is fine. Well, if America's not going to do this, we'll do it. We'll step up to the plate. We'll provide some of these things that you're looking for. Well, great. That's what we've been asking for the whole time.
And my question, and my concern here is, we've talked about it. I would prefer generally to avoid global war. And if the UK is putting boots on the ground and Russia and the UK start shooting each other, guess who else is going to be in a global war real quick? We are.
Well, no, I understand that, too. I think Donald Trump said today from the White House, my primary objective is to stop people dying in this conflict.
Sure.
And it is secondary, and I thought it was well said, it is secondary or maybe long down the list that I'm concerned about money. But I am concerned about money. I'm concerned about the amount of money that we've already spent and a lack of return on that investment in any tangible way. And I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest that we ought to have some sort of return.
No, and I wouldn't suggest that. I just, as I've said all along, I've been consistent about this. Give me a plan. You tell me what the plan is. Joe Biden, tell me what the plan is. No, we stand with Ukraine. Okay, that's not a plan. Trump, well, we don't stand with Ukraine. Okay, that's
how much
that's
you're willing to spend, as much as it takes.
That's not really a plan. But this is a plan. This is, we need these, so we're going to invest.
Because if we go to, and you pointed it out, if we go to those places where the rare earth minerals exist, by necessity, those have to be Ukrainian places.
Yeah.
So you push Russia out of those places. So that presents, as a negotiation tactic, hey, these are the lines that you have to get behind.
Yeah, we're going to be here.
And you've got to be on the other side.
You go away. Right? And well, you can have the thing that you have. Like, okay, whatever.
And I know people don't like the idea of Russia getting something out of this, but the alternative is we've got to beat them.
In wars, if you don't finish the war, both sides have to give up something.
Right.
And did Russia start it? Yes, they did. I have no problem saying that. But if you want to end it without one side losing, both sides have to give up something.
Well, we yelled a lot less than I wanted to. That's unfortunate. We agreed way more than I like.
It's because all of that is silly. It just is. Let us be very angry. Okay, cool.
And I don't care what he wears. I really don't. But let's not pretend that what he's wearing is not an outfit. It's a costume. I mean, it's become a costume at this point. Anytime you're wearing the exact same thing and anytime you have to be seen in public in the exact same thing, you're wearing a costume. So let's not pretend that that's not annoying. It is annoying.
Politicians wear costumes. It's okay.
I mean, all of them wear costumes.
If they could wear capes more, I would like that.
I would love a good cape. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. You know, talking about my friends at the Glock Store and why they're so we're so lucky to have them in Nashville and why they're so good at what they do. You know, one of the reasons that Glocks are very popular in the United States of America is because of their endless availability to customize them to your own specifications and standards. Performance parts, we're talking about competition triggers and magwells, extended controls, red dot optics, all available for you at the Glock Store. Rest assured, if it's for a Glock, they have it at the Glock Store. I mean, when your name is Glock Store, you're going to have all the Glocks and you're going to have all the Glock goodies as well. If the Glock Store is open for business, that means they have a gunsmith on duty always. A gunsmith will be there for you, and whatever parts you purchase, they will install them for you for free while you wait. You heard me right. For free while you wait. You buy the parts, they install them for you. There's a lot of reasons to like the Glock Store, and free parts installation is just one of them. I know you'll find a lot to like about the Glock Store when you stop by and see them. Convenient to everywhere, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive. It is the one and only Glock Store. Go to glockstore.com or shoot270.com. Defense Systems is an active shooter and physical security expert firm in a dangerously developing world. Let's talk about this. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm based right here in Middle Tennessee. Their expertise is simple. They help protect you against active shooter possibilities. They train you in response. Workplace violence prevention, site survey and threat assessment, security improvement consultation, emergency and intruder action plan, rapid response medical training, all customized to your facility and all available at your fingertips. All you need to do is call Brink and the team at Defend Systems. They will talk to you on the phone about your needs. They will stop by your place of business or your school or your church, any place that people gather. You need this in your life. I always like to say that hope is not a plan. Hope isn't a plan. And the possibility of you being attacked at your workplace, school, at your place of business, wherever, it is very, very low, but it's not zero. That's why you need to get trained with Defend Systems. Go to defendsystems.com or 615-236-6484, 236-6484. Yes, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's see how many thumbs up I got tonight. Only 57. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. I blame Cameron Smith of the Tennessean.
Jason does too.
Oh, man, he called. Well, I forgot to tell you what he called you. It was very funny.
Well,
Jason loves you.
I know.
He said so. Hey, Weber.
Yeah.
What do you got going on this weekend?
Oh, not much.
Oh, wait a minute. You're out next week, aren't you?
That's right, I am.
Yeah.
Little spring break vacay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Any plans?
Yeah, some plans.
Okay.
I will not disclose what those plans are.
I don't blame you. I tell you what, I think I know what Chris Webber's plans are. He plans on sitting in his backyard with a shotgun across his lap waiting on you.
Woohoo!
Come on. Just come on.
I'm going to just go play outside, man. I need it.
Is that what you're doing?
I need the sunshine.
I am too. I think maybe some clubs and little white balls are on the horizon. I also might play golf.
I'm stuck on little white balls.
I don't even know what that means. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, friends. Mark Levin is up next. We'll talk to you on Monday afternoon. Until then, so long, everybody.